Listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
5:09. Time to get a check of the roads this early morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. On the north side of the city of Chicago, there's a closure of Howard at Clark Street. This is police investigate a shooting in that area, which happened during the overnight hours. Also on the north side, Roscoe remains blocked. Haven and Western after Retro on Roscoe over the weekend. The outbound run got delays from 87th to the split. Roadwork this morning has 4 left lanes blocked until 6 a.m. You've got at least a 5-minute delay. The inbound ride is clear. The other expressways and tollways are looking good at this hour. In Hawthorne Woods starting today, Fairfield Road closes between Milton and Schwerman. That's for construction, which is scheduled until Sunday the 20th. And traffic is a service of CC's Pizza. Now at CC's, party with a new stuffed crust trio. Bacon stuffed crust, a new grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Join the original pepperoni. The stuffed crust parties on the unlimited buffet for just $5 and change. CC's. Prices may vary for a limited time only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Partial sunshine today, high 83, then a partly cloudy night with a passing late night shower, low 66. Tomorrow, humid with partial sunshine, high 82, and a thunderstorm late tomorrow night, otherwise mostly cloudy, low 68. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
65 officially at O'Hare, 68 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So here we go. 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line. 646-360-A turnkey.pro text line. Of course, leading with the attack in Charlottesville that this neo-Nazi that murdered a woman and injured 19 others.
Yeah, critically injured 5 of them. So
he is in custody, charged with murder, as you would expect, as is appropriate. The confab of white supremacist protesters protesting the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue in Charlottesville, combined with so-called Antifa Black Flag protesters, and the violence ensued. Here's what President Trump said, since President Trump's reaction has been what has dominated the news this weekend.
yeah, we don't even know anything really about the 2 Virginia state troopers who died in the helicopter crash, both that they were family men, because that story has been lost. All everybody's been focusing on is President Trump.
Right, and so here's what President Trump had to say, an extended version of the many sides comment that is being obsessed about in the inside the Beltway.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama, This has been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America and security in our society. I just got off the phone with the governor.
Efficient response to the attack in Charlottesville, or was his many sides comment, his alleged moral equivocation between Antifa and the white supremacists, was that a problem? Is his lack of specificity in his initial statement calling out the white supremacists problematic?
Yeah, it's what he didn't say that upset me. What he said, that was nice, and that, is try to provide comfort and unity for our country, but he didn't call out the white nationalists who organized the event, or he didn't call the car incident domestic terrorism. And I just want to point out, when he was walking out of the press conference, a reporter asked him about white nationalists. And listen, he didn't respond.
Mr. President, do you want the support of these white nationalist groups?
Do you want the support of these white nationalist groups? Because everybody is saying that he didn't denounce them, he didn't condemn them, because that's his base. And he missed the mark. I mean, the president needs to speak for the nation and give comfort. And, I know you don't turn to your politicians to heal and to soothe things over, but he had a chance there to denounce the KKK, and he didn't do it, because David Duke, the leader of the KKK, even said that they were there to promote Trump's mission.
We are determined to take our country back. We're going to fulfill the promises of Donald Trump. That's what we believed in. That's why we voted for Donald Trump, because he said he's going to take our country back, and that's what we got to do.
Yeah, well, he's going to take our country back, and that's what we're here to do. Take our country back. I mean, I kept thinking maybe they took too many red pills, that they saw the movie The Red Pill and took it, to a new level. I don't know what we knew that.
I don't even know what that means.
The 20-year-old kid's registered Republican, drove 8 hours. His mom thought that he was coming down for a Trump event. And he uses his car, plows into a group, backs up again, runs over even more people. And he did it. They're saying that he did it this morning. CNN was reporting that they have some information from the Justice Department, because he belonged to a white supremacist group. And he wanted to... he went there with the intention to kill people, to kill protesters.
Let's go to Annie in Chicago. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning. I hope this isn't a provocative remark, but I can't understand what the phobia is about Southern or Confederate statues. Why would anybody... The Taliban knocks down statues and all kinds of emblems when they come into a country. Why are they discarding these statues? Why do they want to remove the statues?
Thanks for the call, Annie. I mean, that's the proximate impetus for the event. That's for the protest, with the Confederate flags and the white supremacists, I suppose. And that the statues are about expunging the history of the South in part. Right, I mean, Robert E. Lee statue, so the Civil War and the fight to preserve slavery as opposed to the fight to eradicate it. And so they want to not celebrate that aspect of Southern history by maintaining monuments in tribute to those who fought in that war.
I don't like what happened in the Civil War and what the South was standing for, but I'm not into erasing history. Because if you don't remember history, history could repeat itself. Seeing a Confederate, the Confederate General Robert E. Lee statue does not bother me.
Everybody is saying that he wouldn't denounce white supremacists because that's his base. First of all, everybody's not saying that. And secondly, did you vote for Trump?
I did.
So are you a white supremacist?
No, I am not.
Right.
But Vice President Pence, who just arrived in South America, said what President Trump didn't.
We have no tolerance for hate and violence from white supremacists, neo-Nazis, or the KKK. These dangerous fringe groups have no place in American public life and in the American debate, and we condemn them in the strongest possible terms. The president's call for unity yesterday, though, was from the heart. It was a sincere call in these two divided times in our country.
Frank in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Amy, I agree with you. He should have said something about these white supremacist groups. But I did a little digging. And on YouTube, if you remember, back during the campaign, he was repeatedly asked about the KKK, and he repeatedly denounced them and said, I want nothing to do with David Duke, and over and over.
Yeah, but it took him a while to get there. I mean, it took a few interviews. I think it was on the third attempt that he finally said, no, I'm denouncing the KKK.
Yeah, but he should have said something the other day. He has no problem calling Islamic terrorists. He made a huge point out of that. But, yeah, he should have, but he has in the past denounced them.
Thanks for the call, Frank.
I mean, did you watch? I was obsessed with TV this weekend, just watching the events unfold and the KKK and what they were doing with the African-American protesters. They're each spraying pepper spray in everybody's face. I mean, it was embarrassing. And for President Trump to finally speak, which he finally came out 40 minutes after Melania tweeted something, and then he made a tweet, and then an hour later he came out and spoke to the country. But was he not watching what was going on? I mean, maybe he didn't see what was happening. He just heard about what was happening. Because it was embarrassing. As an American citizen, that was embarrassing.
Which part?
The KKK and the Black Lives Matter protesters going at it. They look so stupid in their purple and their red and their grand wizard there. I mean, it's too much.
Randy in Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
Yeah, 2 quick points. Abraham Lincoln, of course, was a Republican, and he put this country into a civil war, fighting the Democrats to free the slaves, stop slavery. And then in the 60s, during, civil rights, the Republicans wanted civil rights for, the blacks. The Democrats did not. How does history change like this, and who is the racist and who isn't?
Thanks for the call, Randy. Ed in Oak Brook.
I have to agree almost with Amy, but here's the point. David Duke has never been to the White House and probably never will, and he should never be. But then Al Sharpton has been to that White House, 70, 80 times, and he's the biggest race baiter in this whole country. So why don't you tell me who's fostering these unrest between races? It's also the media's fault as well. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Ed.
How is this possibly the media's fault? Isn't it the sicko James Field? Isn't it his fault?
Yeah, I think he's talking about writ large in terms of racial tension in this country,
Okay.
the media demagoguing the race issue, and I think that there's some truth to that.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, more of your phone calls, 312-642-5600. Did President Trump go not say enough to stop the violence in Charlottesville? Today, partly sunny, a high of 83 degrees. Tonight, we will have a passing shower later. And then tomorrow, it's going to be humid with some sunshine, a high in the mid-80s. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. On the north side of Chicago, there's a closure due to the violence here. Howard at Clark, there's an overnight shooting. The police investigation is ongoing in that area. Also on the north side, Roscoe is blocked between Damon and Western after retro on Roscoe over the weekend. Ryan Expressway, we've got outbound delays due to morning construction. 4 left lanes are blocked, 87th split. Got about a 5-minute delay there. Inbound, a little heavy 18th into the Burn Circle. That's just a 2-minute delay. I-57, 16 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 423 already. Delays start at the Stony Island Feeder. Other expressways and tollways are fine for now. Jim Talamonte, the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, if your kids haven't started back to school yet, they will be in a matter of days. It's hard to believe that it's back to school season already, but it's here. And for some parents, that's not exactly good news, especially if you're not happy with your child's school or teacher. Maybe the issue at your public school is bullying or Common Core or maybe transgender bathrooms. Maybe it's time to make the switch this school year and send your child to a private school. You can make that switch for half the price of regular tuition when you visit halfpriceschools.com. There's no catch. It's simple. Find a school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and make that school switch. They have schools located in Antioch, South Holland, Chicago, all over the Chicagoland area, including Northwest Indiana. So the school year is upon us. Do not wait another day. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Message and data rates may apply.
Attention, it is illegal to text and drive. So if you're experiencing hair loss and you want a permanent solution, please pull over now, because an incredible offer that could give you your hair back is just one text away. Bosley is the world's most experienced hair restoration expert, always pioneering the latest technology. And now, we're giving everyone who texts GROW to 543-543, an absolutely free information kit that reveals just how easy and affordable this permanent solution really is. Don't wait. When you text GROW to 543-543, we'll also give you a gift card for $250 off. Millions of men and women have come to Bosley for a permanent solution to hair loss. So pull over now and see for yourself how great your hair could look with an absolutely free information kit. Text GROW to 543-543. Plus, get a free gift card. This amazing offer is just one text away. GROW to 543-543.
Tasty Catering is bringing outdoor happiness to you and your coworkers this picnic season.
Down-home barbecue, street tacos, sausages and sandwiches, steaks, chops, fish, Greek feasts, pig roasts. The list goes on.
Tasty Catering picnic foods are more deliciously sophisticated than ever. With so many great options, everyone will be happy.
Organic, gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan, and dairy-free options never tasted so picnicky.
And your picnic doesn't stop with amazing freshly grilled food. Entertainment, rentals, decor, venue selection. Get everything you need with one single call to Tasty Catering.
Inflatables and crafts for the kids, games and athletics for the teenagers, beverage packages and entertainment options for the adults. There's so much to choose from.
The best company picnics start at TastyCatering.com. View picnic menus, entertainment options, picnic spots, and more. Visit TastyCatering.com. TastyCatering.com.
The number one fear amongst retirees today is running out of money in retirement. And that's with good reason, because the last thing you want to be is 75 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Hi, this is Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. here on AM 560. Today, we're living longer than ever before, so your retirement savings has to last 2, 3, even 4 decades. So how do you safely generate more income in retirement without risking everything you've worked for in the stock market? And what can you do to help ensure you never run out of money in retirement? The answer's in our free retirement income planning packet. It's packed full of little-known strategies on how to generate income in retirement, getting the most from Social Security, minimize taxes, and reduce the risk of outliving your income. You don't need to take unnecessary risks to generate income in retirement, and I'll prove it to you. You have a lot more options to generate income in retirement. You just didn't know they existed until now. Call the Alpha Wealth Group, 630-519-4742, right now to receive your free report. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
AM 560. The Answer. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy taking your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Stephen Hayes writing in the Weekly Standard. So neocon perspective on this. Not fans of Trump over at the Weekly Standard, generally. Why does Trump do this, meaning not condemn specifically neo-Nazis and white supremacists? Is he racist? Merely sympathetic to the kind of racism that embraced by the alt-right? Or is it simply his eagerness to criticize people who oppose him and praise, or at the very least avoid criticizing, those who support him? President Trump built his reputation with tough talk and harsh condemnations of people who earn his disapproval. That he refused to offer those things on Saturday is no accident. It's no surprise either, although Hayes doesn't answer his own question as to what's the motivation. There's some suggestion that the motivation is only that he attacks those who attack him. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Joe in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, hi, Dan and Annie. Listen, what about Obama dividing this country? Nothing was said about Obama keep dividing, and
a lot was said about
going on, and George Soros with all the damages and hate that was going on. What about all that?
Yeah, well, a lot was said about that, certainly from our perspective. Not in the D.C. press corps, of course, but a lot was said about it through conservative media, at least. What about what Trump did or didn't say on Saturday, Joe?
Well, what about people hating Trump?
Well, don't answer a question with a question.
Well, okay. what he should have said it, and that's it. I mean, what are we going to do about it? I mean,
okay.
We're gonna just keep it that way because he didn't say what he had to say. I mean, we got to move on.
All right, thanks.
Well, he's having
to move on.
Thanks for the call, Joe.
President Trump's having a press conference today at the White House because he's coming back from his vacation. So maybe he'll say something today. But is that a little too late?
Steve and Joliet.
Yes, good morning, Dan and Amy. Just knowing who just seems President Trump is, again, you said he calls things for what they are. And it's a blanket statement, yes, but, not just hearing white supremacists, alt-white, this, hear about the Antifa, if you've got to retract it, I want to hear also, hey, condemn Black Lives Matter, the protesters, the left. I mean, when's enough? If it was sincere, good, but, he's got people around him perhaps that he should have, thought it through, or he, went off the cuff as he is accustomed to doing, but I feel, when's enough's enough. He did acknowledge it and, kind of move on and learn from it, and that's it.
All right, thanks for the call, Steve.
Even Scaramucci, his former communications director, wasn't pleased with what he said.
Oh heavens!
Oh, I know.
Coming up, we'll get Charlottesville Mayor Michael Signer in on this. He said Trump courted this. What happened on Saturday? Do you agree with that? We'll take more of your calls.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good Monday morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 65 degrees. Vice President Mike Pence condemning white supremacists, neo-Nazis in the strongest of terms after a deadly attack at a white nationalist rally in Virginia.
We have no tolerance for hate and violence from white supremacists, neo-Nazis, or the KKK.
President Trump's national security advisor labeled Saturday's deadly car attack in Charlottesville an act of terror.
What terrorism is the use of violence to incite terror and fear. And of course it was terrorism.
The Detroit Red Wings this morning rejecting the use of their team's logo by white nationalists. Team issuing a statement saying they vehemently disagree with the ideology and are not associated in any way with the events in Charlottesville. Hockey fans are speaking out as well.
It's horrible that we still have that level of hate in the world where people have to do things like that to get attention for their whatever cause they think they have.
Multiple images of far-right extremists using logos nearly identical to that of a Red Wings hockey team have been seen during those protests in Charlottesville. Hundreds continue to mourn the woman killed when a car slammed into a crowd of counter-protesters marching on Saturday. They gathered at the crash site in Charlottesville yesterday to remember Heather Heyer, along with Charlottesville Police Chief Al Thomas.
The suspect vehicle that left the scene of the crash was located moments later, and the male driver is in custody with charges pending.
A 20-year-old Ohio man, James Field, is under arrest. The president could launch an investigation into China today for possible illegal trade practices. Amazon giving refunds to some folks who bought counterfeit, potentially shoddy solar eclipse glasses that may not comply, according to the company, with industry standards. Authorities are searching for the gunman who shot and killed 3 Illinois men from Aurora, the Great Lakes Dragway in southeast Wisconsin. Sheriff's Office estimates more than 5,000 were on hand for the event at a speedway near Union Grove. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side. 2 men and a woman broke into a home yesterday near 102nd and Ewing. Authorities believe the shooting was in self-defense. And you've heard a lot of fake news about Willie Nelson recently, but apparently he was in the hospital for a time over the weekend. He's out now after experiencing breathing issues at a performance in Salt Lake City over the weekend. Witnesses say Nelson was unable to finish songs Sunday night. Rushed to a hospital. He's feeling better. Back on the bus. Javi Baez broke the game open with a 3-run home run in the 8th inning. Cubs dropped the Diamondbacks 7-2. Royals beat the White Sox 14-6. Justin Thomas, your winner of the 99th PGA Championship. The news, a service of Staples, with a free next-day delivery from Staples. You can run your business like a pro. Go to staples.com for the office essentials you need delivered next day, free, on eligible items only, and orders over $49.99. Placed by 5 p.m. Excludes weekends and holidays. Staples, it's Pro Time. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher enjoys watching the media deal with the Trump White House.
You got a general, you got a Marine general running the ship, running the show at the White House. And that infuriates the Trump-hating media. I'm not kidding you. They're comical. They're comical.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Home isn't just a place, it's the feeling of knowing you're safe. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Learn more at ADT.com.
If you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, your dental health. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You hear a lot of people screaming at you about dental implants. Get it done in a day, or we can treat everybody, or hundreds of thousands of implants. Look, successful implants don't come from an implant factory. What you don't hear talked about is skill, treatment, and installation. These are what make for successful lifelong implants. And that's why you need to see Dr. Norouzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Norouzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants. You need the experience, skill, and honesty that 24 years of dental implants brings.
This is Dr. Norouzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics, 630-232-7400, 630-232-7400, or just remember, implantsforme.com, implantsforme.com.
5:35 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Some good news finally, Jim Talamonte, on the near north side. They're almost done with that intersection at Fullerton and Elston. It may open later today, I hear.
That's right. That'll certainly alleviate some of the congestion in that area. That's been a hot spot. And yes, it may reopen at some point. Not yet, but it may today. Meanwhile, farther north, Howard Street is blocked off in both directions between Clark and Volcott after an overnight shooting near Clark and Howard. Investigation is ongoing. Edens is fine, Kennedy as well. Although outbound, it's getting heavier approaching 190. In fact, we do have mild delays on westbound 190 now. River Road to the Tri-State approaching O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower a little sluggish east of 25th. Inbound Stevenson delays from Lamont Road to Cass and in pockets between Cicero and Lakeshore Drive. 39 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Ryan is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 16 with roadwork at 87. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop 426. Traffic is a service of CC's. Now at CC's, party with the new stuffed crust trio. Bacon stuffed crust, a new grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Join the original with pepperoni. The stuffed crust parties on the unlimited buffet for just $5 and change. CC's, prices may vary for a limited time only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Partly sunny today. We'll top out at 83. Some rain showers could erupt overnight. Low 66. 64 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Breaking news as it happens. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Still tackling what happened over the weekend and the reactions to the reactions from political leaders, starting with the President of the United States. Here is what Charlotte Mayor Michael Signer had to say about Trump on Meet the Press.
You added this. You said, I do hope he looks in the mirror, himself in the mirror, and thinks very deeply about who he consorted with during the campaign. What are you referring to there?
It's an old saying, when you dance with the devil doesn't change, the devil changes you. And I think they made a choice in that campaign, a very regrettable one, to really go to people's prejudices, to go to the gutter. I mean, these influences around the country, these anti-Semites, racists, Aryans, Nazis, KKK, they were always in the shadows, but you know, they've really given They've been given a key and a reason to come into the light. That's exactly what happened last week. If you looked at the chatter online, they said this will be a shot heard around the world. This will be alt-right 2.0 in Charlottesville. The time has come for this to stop. This should be a turning point. This movement jumped the shark, and it happened yesterday. People are dying, and I do think that it's now on the president and on all of us to say enough is enough. This movement has run its course.
Well, wait, the movement jumped the what? The racial hatred jumped the shark on Saturday? No, it jumped the shark at its inception. What are you talking about? It jumped the shark on Saturday. It's absurd. Number one. Number two, did Trump court this? Is Trump the proximate cause of what occurred on Saturday? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. And just one other thing here in terms of just definitions so that we are speaking the same language.
Okay.
Nazis are National Socialists. It is not a right movement. It is not conservatives. It is a left movement. National Socialists. Left. The interesting thing is the white supremacist, neo-Nazi ignorant scum and the fascist Antifa ignorant scum have essentially the same policy agenda. They just disagree who should be on top. That's what's actually.
But then why did?
That's what's actually the deal. You'll recall Antifa just here. The many sides comment, and I'll get to my 20-second summation on this whole contretemps shortly. But in terms of the many sides comment that Trump made, Antifa is the organization that has been involved in confrontations in Berkeley, in Portland, at the campus of Evergreen State. Rich Lowry over at National Review posted tweets from a New York Times reporter on the scene. New York Times reporter. Not part of the alt-right, okay? Cheryl Gay Stolberg. The hard left seemed as hate-filled as alt-right. I saw club-wielding Antifa beating white nationalists being let out of the park. Here's another reporter was filing for the New York Times, Hawes Spencer. The entirety of downtown Charlottesville looked like a war zone. Protesters maced each other through water bottles and urine balloons, some of which hit reporters, and generally beat the crap out of each other with flagpoles. This is not to defend neo-Nazis, because I don't. This is to say that you have two groups who are largely comprised of ignorant scum that think violence is a way to advance their cause, and they're both wrong. And one was murderously wrong on Saturday, and another one wasn't. But does the fact that one group's violence doesn't lead to murder, does it make it more acceptable? I don't think so. And that's what Jake Tapper tried to do with Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert over the weekend. One side committed murder. Yeah, agreed. You got ignorant scum, neo-Nazis and white supremacists, and one of them committed a murder and gravely injured 5 others and a dozen others in addition to that. And the other group didn't murder anybody. So what? So what? Both sides are trying to use violence to advance their toxic worldview.
Yeah, the white supremacist crazy nut job used a vehicle to kill people. It's a little different. Now, protester on the other side didn't use his car to kill people.
Okay, so let me just understand this. If you're unsuccessful at using violence to try and advance your view, that is somehow more moral than being successful in using violence to advance your view. Because one side uses a knife and the other side uses a gun, the side using a knife is better? Or are they both equally objectionable? Are they both anathema to a free society because at the core, both believe it's okay to use violence to advance your worldview?
Well, people are dead, and that helicopter would not have been up in the air had not both of those sides been fighting.
So, right.
And they're both outside agitated. They interviewed one lady who is from Charlottesville who said, I have never seen any of these people in my life. The protesters are outside agitators, and the KKK and those different separate groups that all came to visit.
Yeah, well.
And that's why I'm upset, because it didn't have to happen.
Okay. Of course it didn't have to happen.
chopper wouldn't have been up in the air and they wouldn't have died.
Robert in Northbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys, first of all, let's be clear. Let's put our prayers out to all the people who have died this past weekend in Chicago, also during the protest. I believe the president was trying to de-escalate it. He didn't say Black Lives Matter were there, and they were, and the white guys were there, and they were. And, you know, I mean, I think we lose the big picture here, that our world, the United States, is divided. And it just didn't happen under Trump. I believe it happened under the past 8 years as well, and going back 50, 60, 70 years.
No, or, 170 years. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
since the founding of the country. Yeah, it's right. Yes.
Yeah, and when you allow Black Lives Matter, no offense, to go out in the street and say, when do we want them? We want cops dead. We want them now. And then you're going to escalate stuff. It's the way it is. But my point is, real quick, if the mayor knew this, why didn't he bring out the National Guard?
Yeah.
Why did the cops walk away and just let everybody smash the hell out of each other?
Well, Friday, when they marched through University of Virginia, there were not enough police officers, and then the next night he called out the National Guard.
Also, it was just going back to Rich Lowry. Rich Lowry had this exchange, like many are having, between with Joyanne Reid on Meet the Press on their roundtable. Because Joyanne Reid, the typical, she's one of these MSNBC hosts.
Did she pay her taxes?
I can't remember. I think she's in the category of have paid taxes.
Okay.
I'm not sure. She's an outlier there. But she, of course, just says, well, the alt-right is just a synonym for conservatives. Neo-Nazi is just a synonym for conservative. Rich Lowry responded. And that there are white supremacists inside the Trump White House, Stephen Miller and Michael Anton. And for those who don't, Michael Anton is Publius Decius Mus, the guy who wrote the Flight 93 article that was one of the most talked about during the presidential campaign. He ultimately is a comms person for the National Security Council now inside the Trump administration. Joyanne Reid refers to these as alt-righters, white supremacists. Rich Lowry responds.
Look, you have so-called anti-fascists who dress in black, wear masks.
Were they beating clergy?
There was violence on both sides.
There was certainly not.
Yes,
were they attacking clergy? I spoke with clergy who were being beaten with brass knuckles by neo-Nazis.
Anti-fascists also beat people up, break things, and burn things. They both should be condemned. And look, I want the alt-right to be as limited as possible. I want it to go away and die. But you're not doing folks on my side any favors by defining it so widely that it includes Stephen Miller and Mike Anton. That's what they want. You're helping them by defining them so widely.
Have you read the blog posts that they've posted?
I don't think Mike Anton is a white nationalist. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is if President Trump doesn't denounce these groups, they become emboldened or feel emboldened. That's how I feel.
Candace in DuPage.
Oh, God, Amy, you need to start going by the Prager rule, which is the more hysterical the left is, the bigger the lie, okay? And this whole thing is a lie. And let me tell you something.
Oh, it's a lie? Okay.
Just be quiet.
Candace, be respectful.
Shut up, I'm trying to talk.
Candace,
don't tell me to shut up.
All right, Candace.
Seriously.
Candace.
Don't talk over me.
All right, Candace.
Oh, now she's yelling at both of us.
Candace, the floor is yours. Okay, let's go.
Okay, please be quiet, Amy. You're being hysterical.
Wait, Candace.
Shush.
Oh, my God.
Antifa people would cut your grandma's throat in a second if they thought she was a Trump voter, Amy. Did you see the video of the guy who reached into a person's car who he was having an argument with about traffic, grabbed his dog and threw it into traffic? That was an Antifa person, okay? These people are highly funded and all over the United States. I'm not afraid of white nationalists. I think they're stupid. But do you think they're funded in a national group by Soros? No.
Thanks for the.
They have their own funding.
Thanks for the call, Candace.
Yeah, somebody's got a bad case of the Mondays, huh?
I hope that's an Office Space impersonation.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Julie in Ottawa, Canada.
Hi. I grew up in Des Plaines, and I saw a little bit about the news. But
You wanted to go someplace more free like Ottawa.
Well, I
just blames Ottawa.
Huh?
Nothing.
No,
Go on,
go ahead.
please.
I'm sorry,
Continue.
Julie.
No, I feel sad that whenever I go home, I mean, I can't even. Okay, I'm a Republican. My sister's a Democrat, and we can't even talk to each other. And I don't think that's. I think that's becoming very. I think that's the country is becoming so divided. It makes me very sad.
Yeah. Thanks for the call,
Okay.
Julie. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Philip in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Money Answer.
Well, thanks for taking my call, Dan and Amy. It's sad. It's really sad, especially with the emotions that we have going on. And I was just telling your producer, now it seems like Trump is leading from behind when it comes to issues like this, when it comes to speaking out in harsh terms about racism, about particular groups of racism. I mean, if it was Black Lives Matter, in this instance, he didn't take the bait, but in other instances, he would have. But when it comes to talking about white nationalists or Ku Klux Klan or skinheads or all these other groups that banded together this weekend in Charlottesville, Trump did not tweet. He did not. Leading from behind is because his wife tweeted first, which I was impressed with. Then his daughter, and then other people in the administration. And he comes on and have a statement at 3-something in the evening Eastern time at a scheduled event for veterans. And even then he goes off script, and that's when he goes wrong, when he goes off script. But he was speaking his mind because he cannot condemn racism or particular groups that are center of his base as far as white supremacist groups and this, that, and the third. But for him not to even tweet all morning long until the early afternoon, he didn't even tweet. Excuse me, when he normally would have, if it was something else, if it was Black Lives Matter or whatever. But it's just sad, and especially the condolences for this woman who died and the 2 troopers that died. And Amy said it right. If this whole thing demonstrated had not been set up by the white nationalists, whatever other groups they added on to that, none of this, no deaths would have happened. There probably wouldn't have been a protest. And all of this is because of a statue of a dead enemy of the United States of America.
Thanks for the call, Phil. Appreciate it. So here's the thing.
And statue's still up, by the way.
Trump did tweet at 12:19 in the afternoon on Saturday. He tweeted, "We must all be united and condemn all that hate stands for. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. Let's come together as one." That's what he tweeted at 12:19 Saturday afternoon. That's number one. Number two, I think there's a fair criticism that Phil makes about leading from behind on this issue. Number three, let's remember that there is this right to protest, even and right to speech, even noxious speech, like advanced by white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Of course, the infamous case in this area, 1978, when the Nazis wanted to march through Skokie. Ultimately,
they did.
And they didn't because they chose not to. But the ACLU rallied to the defense of the Nazis. They ultimately had a rally down at Federal Plaza in lieu of marching through Skokie. But the bottom line is there is this right to protest. So you can say, had they not organized this protest, that those troopers wouldn't have gone down in that helicopter. And that's true. But you have to remember there's a fundamental right to protest and free speech. And I'm in the Brandeis camp. The way to combat speech you don't like is with more speech, not enforced silence. Mike in Griffith, Indiana.
Yeah, let's realize Charlotte issued a permit for them to march as a constitutional right to do that. And yet on Friday, the governor of Virginia, Terry the Snake McAuliffe, put out 2 subliminal calls for help from the left-wing psychos sponsored by George Soros, stating he hated what was going to happen. He knew violence was going to happen. He let the whole left-wing psychobabble group come into Charlotte. The police were ordered to stand down, and then you have what you have. You just let them march through 4 blocks. They go off to the coffee shop, and it's all over. It's a setup by the left.
All right, Mike, thanks for the call, Mike. Angie and Elgin.
Yes, hi,
Hi, good morning. I'm calling about, I'm listening all morning and all night long about everybody getting against Trump on what his comment was. And in actuality, this group has every right to protest. Don't agree with it at all, don't take me wrong, but it is free speech. And just like we give Black Lives Matter the floor, you got to give the other side a floor. Had the anti-protesters just maybe not shown up and not been ready for a fight, this protest probably would have went on and nobody would have even paid attention to it.
Thanks for the call, Angie.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had some ulcer issues on my leg that I had from Vietnam. It would erupt on occasion of periods of stress. When I was taking juices, these ulcers had disappeared, but I was not able to get good quality fruits and vegetables to make good juices. And, these ulcers came back. But since I've been taking the fruit and the veggie capsules, these ulcers again have subsided.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. A corollary to Daniel Webster's incantation that the power to tax is the power to destroy is the choice to politicize is the power to pollute. The left presses their quest for control of the culture because conservatives have left so many fronts unguarded, including the arts. The left intends for all facets of human activity, even mere existence, to be forced through their identity politics prism. We get reviews by champagne socialists of Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk criticizing the film's lack of diversity. Where was the Chelsea Manning of 1940? Why Tom Hardy instead of G.I. Jane as the heroic Spitfire pilot? Nolan may have sanitized history. The left seeks to rewrite it. Two forthcoming alternative history TV series are receiving very different pre-production reactions based on the perceived fictional treatment of blacks in each. HBO's Confederate, whose creative team includes one of the writers from Empire, is to be boycotted, while Amazon's Black America, featuring a reparations narrative, is to be celebrated. It's noteworthy that today's cultural totalitarians have abstained from commenting on the man in the high castle.
It is 5:56. It means it's time to get an update on the roads for you this morning. You have details on traffic in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Monday morning rush to O'Hare is on. We're seeing delays on westbound 190, the Kennedy Expressway to the Tri-State. The outbound Kennedy now has a little bit of slow traffic. First Kimball to Pulaski, then Foster to Sayers. About 25 minutes downtown to the airport, inbound 21. The Edens is clear. The Eisenhower, inbound heavy starting at Mannheim. 31 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 5 at 29. Westbound I-55, slow 53 to Cass, then delays kick in again around Harlem. Stevenson is 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford at 24 minutes. Traffic this morning is a service of Accountemps. In today's economy, highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be hard to find. As the leader in specialized temporary staffing, Accountemps provides top accounting and finance talent where and when you need it the most. Visit Accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues with Dan and Amy after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny, high 83. Tonight, partly cloudy with a passing late-night shower, low 66. Tomorrow, humid with partial sunshine, high 82. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
66 degrees officially at O'Hare. The news, a service of Office Depot Office Max. Shop the Office Depot Office Max Back to School 1 cent event going on now. Select items, 1 cent each, in-store only. Limit 3 each while supplies last. Offer with $5 minimum purchase before tax. Ends 8/26. 5:59. Let's The very latest stories we're following in the AM 560 News Center this morning as protesters in Chicago denounce racism and violence following weekend events in Charlottesville, Virginia. Authorities are on the search for a gunman who shot and killed 3 suburban men at the Great Lakes Dragway in southeast Wisconsin. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side. The 2 men and a woman broke into a home yesterday near 102nd and Ewing. Authorities believe the shooting was in self-defense. Chicago Police Department mourning the death of a longtime officer. Captain James Lavoie was found unconscious in his squad car yesterday on the Bishop Ford Freeway. Cubs beat the Diamondbacks 7-2 at Chase Field. Royals beat the White Sox 14-6. Justin Thomas, your winner of the 99th PGA Championship. 66 degrees. More Dan and Amy after Fox. WIND Chicago News Time 6.
There's anger across America. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Protesting Saturday's deadly violence in Virginia from Washington, D.C. to Washington State. Angry over white nationalist demonstration that led to clashes with counter-protesters, and the man drove into the crowd, killing 1, injuring 19. James Fields Jr. is charged with murder. He has a bond hearing today. Fox's Evan Brown live in Charlottesville.
Yeah, Dave, Fields will appear via video as he's being held in the jail. The court is just blocks from the scene where Fields is accused of intentionally running down a group of people protesting the presence of white supremacists, of whom Fields was a part. That group hasn't left town yet.
People marching around with swastikas.
I mean, it's a terrible thing that they were allowed to come here, and so much hate. I mean, this is not the city that I know.
Now, the street corner is now a makeshift memorial for Heather Hare, the 32-year-old paralegal who was killed, Dave.
And Republicans and Democrats have condemned the white nationalists who rallied and have been critical that President Trump did not single them out when condemning bigotry and hatred Saturday. Vice President Pence said in Columbia yesterday the president has no tolerance for neo-Nazis and the KKK.
These dangerous fringe groups have no place in American public life.
President Trump will take a break from his working vacation in New Jersey to return to Washington today. Fox's Rachel Sutherland explains why, live from D.C.
Dave, in an early morning tweet, the president said he's coming back to Washington to focus on trade and the military. The president is expected to announce an investigation into China for allegedly stealing American technology and intellectual property. The move could raise tensions with Beijing as the White House seeks China's help in dealing with North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Dave?
Rachel, there's a manhunt in Wisconsin for whomever shot and killed 3 people last night at a racetrack in Kenosha County, prompting thousands to be evacuated. This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%, APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 4th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth, now heard regularly in 18 countries. What percentage of you listening to this commercial often say to yourself, what could I do to make more money, or how can we increase our business? I'm guessing that's most of you. Have you ever heard knock on the door and it'll open? Well, my friends at Income Store have doors you can open that can help you or your family make more money, or doors that lead to an increase in revenue for any business of any size. Income Store has 2 main doors on their website. These doors lead to over 2,000 revenue-generating ideas and products. Although a few of their products are pricey, 90+% of their growth formulas are delivered free or nearly free. Income Store's growth products and ideas have been publicized and featured on Forbes, Inc., USA Today, and recently the Biography Channel. Could your household or business use a revenue shot in the backside? Are you sick of your checkbook talking back and saying no? If so, you need to knock on the doors of IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Depression. You need to make it go away. Cure or remission is here. The revolutionary treatment of TMS.
800-604-0208.
TMS therapy is drug-free and non-invasive. Here's how it works. There are areas of the brain that control mood. If you suffer from depression, research has found these areas to be underactive. TMS therapy uses safe, small magnetic fields, similar to those used in an MRI. They stimulate and activate these mood centers, causing long-term, medication-free relief. HBR centers in Chicagoland and Wisconsin offer TMS. End the frustration with life and relationships.
It's FDA cleared and it is covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Medicare.
Dangerous drugs and other treatments just mask the depression. Cure or remission. Get a free consultation.
800-604-0208.
HBR centers. Go to endmydepression.com.
Discover Westmont, a community nestled in the heart of DuPage County. With top-notch schools, beautiful affordable housing, and excellent dining and shopping, Westmont makes a great place to live, work, and play. Choose Westmont. Discover how your business can flourish and grow with a wonderful central location providing rapid access to Chicago's key expressways, airports, and many family-friendly amenities. Add quick transportation on the Burlington train line, and that means simple and easy travel for everyone. Westmont is committed to working collaboratively with you to facilitate inquiries about your family or business relocation. We'll help your company navigate to Westmont for a great experience. Call Larry Forsberg at Westmont Economic Development at 630-824-9337. That's 630-824-9337 to find out about incentives that can help you plan your development, relocation, or expansion. Discover all Westmont has to offer. For more information, visit ChooseWestmont.com. That's ChooseWestmont.com.
How would you like a second source of income without having to work a second job? Does that sound just about too good to be true? Well, my friends at Online Trading Academy can show you how other people are doing this every day. You see, they have a patented core strategy that can help you learn how to follow what the big banks on Wall Street are doing and how profits are being made when the market goes up and even when it goes down. Right now, they are offering a free Wall Street Insider Kit, so you can get started right away. Just call 888-984-TRADE. You'll get 2 online classes, instructional videos, and a guide that will help you learn to build that second income. It's all free. Call 888-984-TRADE. They will even throw in 2 free tickets to an upcoming workshop, so you can ask questions and learn more. The market is making all kinds of moves. Are you ready to move with it? Call 888-984-TRADE. 888-984-8723. Call 888-984-TRADE.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, discussing the white supremacist attack that left 1 dead and 19 injured over the weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia. 5 gravely injured.
I'd like to say 3 dead because
the
2
right.
Virginia state troopers were also killed because they were doing surveillance of after the car crash had happened. They were sent up in the air, and there was an accident, and they died.
So there's, layers to the story, as you would expect. But the one that got the most attention over the weekend is, of course, President Trump's initial statement on the matter, talking about condemning violence on many sides, and the firestorm that ensued for his failure to be specific in condemning the neo-Nazi, white supremacist, National Socialists that were the proximate cause of the violence on Saturday.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. This has been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives. No citizen should ever fear for their safety and security in our society.
And Trump went on to recount his conversation with Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe.
I just got off the phone with the governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, and we agreed that the hate and the division must stop, and must stop right now. We have to come together as Americans with love for our nation and true affection, really, and I say this so strongly, true affection for each other.
That wasn't good enough, though, because of his failure to specifically condemn. And so the question is, was it good enough for you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Now,
well, he did. Well, again, it's not what he said, it's what he didn't say. I mean, what he said, that was nice. That wasn't healing rhetoric because he didn't condemn the white nationalists who organized the event or call the car incident domestic terrorism. And a reporter asked him on the way out. They gave him a chance.
Mr. President, do you want the support of these white nationalist groups?
Because many people say he's not condemning them because that is his base.
Department of Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert went on with Jake Tapper on CNN, and he defended the president's comments thusly.
I think the President of the United States, and I appreciate the mayor yesterday and this morning talking to me, but earlier on your program here a moment ago saying this isn't about President Trump. This is about a degree of violence and of hatred that cannot be tolerated in this country. I, for one, was with the president yesterday and proud of the fact that he stood up and calmly looked into the camera and condemned this violence and bigotry in all its forms. This racial intolerance and racial bigotry cannot be condoned.
Mm-hmm.
But he emboldens these groups by not calling them out by their names. I mean, if you watch the video, the KKK was everywhere in Charlottesville over the weekend. Then there was other neo-Nazi groups, and it's just say what it is. That's what Vice President Mike Pence did.
We have no tolerance for hate and violence from white supremacists, neo-Nazis, or the KKK. These dangerous fringe groups have no place in American public life and in the American debate. And
Why couldn't President Trump say that?
So,
and does he have anyone in his inner circle to tell him, hey, you know what, you made a mistake, you might want to get back out there?
Interesting piece in Pajamas Media from Roger Simon. Being a Jewish fella, I don't hold much brief for white supremacists and neo-Nazis. No, I wouldn't think you would.
What is the publication again? Pajamas?
Yeah, pjmedia.com.
Oh, okay.
Pajamas Media.
Yeah.
But until this Saturday, I hadn't seen them. I hadn't seen a lot of them around lately. And I've been going around the country quite a bit for the last couple of years, hitting roughly half the states, including some like Mississippi, where the Klan was once riding high. Statistics are scant, and various organizations have their reasons for inflating or deflating the numbers, but the History Channel informs us that the KKK at its height in the 1920s had 4 million members. Since the population of America was just over 100 million, that's close to 4% of the country. In other words, that was really bad. There's a heck of a lot of murderous racists around in 1920. By the 1990s, however, the same source, the History Channel, tells us the Klan was down to a paltry 6,000 to 10,000 people / creeps nationwide. Has it gone up since then? Hard to say, but if so, not much. And so if you say, for the sake of argument, it's 10 times the number the History Channel reported in the 1990s, 100,000, then that puts, as a percentage of the population, at 0.03%. Terrible people, yes, but no epidemic by any stretch of the imagination, writes Roger Simon. By way of comparison, 3 billion pizzas are sold in the U.S. everywhere. Now, that's an epidemic. All right, just have a little tongue-in-cheek. But
right.
The point is that there is this disposition, I guess, of the press to inflate the threat that is posed by, frankly, either side. Antifa, these fascists, anti-fascists, as well as these neo-Nazis. I mean, think about it in your own life. How many times are you involved in or even near something like what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia?
I was once in Ann Arbor when the KKK came, and we had a similar problem. Everyone was tear gas. One guy broke his femur bone.
Yeah, you're a reporter.
Right, I'm right, but people came to watch. I'm just saying that's the only. And then I interviewed a grand wizard once in Northwest Indiana.
Right, as a reporter, you're seeking it out. That's a little bit different.
recording it.
So my point is that, that there is a sense of proportionality that needs to be attached to this. This is not to excuse. It's not to rationalize. This isn't a moral equivocation. It's just an order of magnitude issue. Much like when we talk about radical Islamist terrorists. You talk about, is it a small percentage of Muslims worldwide? It is. But it's a small percentage of a huge number, 1.5 billion people. That turns out to be a lot of people. Whatever that number is it 1%? Is it 5%? Is it 1/10 of 1% of 1.5 billion people? That's a big number. 6 to 10,000 people, 100,000 people in a nation of 330 million. I don't know what the number is. I'm just saying the way the press reports this, it's like the greatest threat to Western civilization is neo-Nazis and white supremacists, or on the flip side, Antifa. Neither is. The greatest threat is how we react to them. That's a much greater threat because it crystallizes everybody's views on these topics, and everybody rushes to be the person who hates neo-Nazis the most, as if it's some competition, or hates Antifa the most, as if it's some competition. And so you kind of, you sometimes get lost in the zeitgeist to condemn, and you do things and suggest things that you otherwise wouldn't do or suggest, like restricting people's freedom of speech and even freedom of thought, like you see happening on college campuses. So I would be measured in response to this, not in terms of the evil this constitutes, in terms of how we respond to said evil. So I've listened to an hour of this and taken calls and all this. So here's my 20-second response to this whole thing that I posted on Facebook over the weekend. The belief in subjugating one group of people to another is toxic. Using violence to do so is evil. Specific evils should be condemned specifically. So I don't really think it's that complicated. We should establish a standard that's not difficult to discern and applied to the Orlando nightclub shooter, as to the Charlottesville driver, as to the Fort Hood major, as to the Oklahoma City bombers, as to the Dallas cop killer, as to the Charleston church murderer. That there's a consistency there from different perspectives, but the same idea. It is okay to use violence to advance my view that one group should be subjugated to another. What about that? What about a standard across the board rather than playing just the simple game of hypocritical politicians? That's an easy game to play. And we can go through, the New York congresswoman who called 5 million NRA members domestic security threats, and the Hugga Jihadi, Jobs for Jihadi programs that have been advanced by Scandinavian countries and our former honorary Scandinavian president, Barack Obama, and Black Lives Matter, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon, and Obama on Islamic terrorism. We can go through all that. How about we just say, here's a standard that applies across all of these incidents of hate-inspired violence that come from many different perspectives, and it all needs to be condemned and everybody needs to be held to the same standard. It's always trying to get to standards that can be equally applied rather than playing this one-off game and saying, on this one, you're a hypocrite on the left, and on this one, you're a hypocrite on the right.
Well, how do you feel about President Trump's response?
What did I say? Specific evil should be condemned specifically.
Okay.
John in Portage Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, hi, good morning. I just wanted to say that, we have 2 slave owners up on Mount Rushmore, and there's all kinds of cities like Washington, D.C., Jackson, Mississippi, all by slave owners, and I think that this is the left's ultimate goal, is to erase all of our history, much like they did in Soviet Russia. Once there was a statue of the Tsar, and then there was a statue of Lenin, and then they're all taken down, and history is being rewritten by the forces that, of the left. They want to completely rewrite history. Like, it's very disconcerting to me because I just don't like the way things are playing out here. And they're getting all the airtime, and and I'm against all the Nazis and all the evil and all that kind of stuff, but I don't like the way they're playing out. I don't see how we can ever stand up against these forces that are trying Excuse me?
Thanks for the call, John. I appreciate it. The way you stand up is by doing what you're doing, standing up, speaking out. Thanks for the call, John.
In a nonviolent manner, which is good.
Nazis, National Socialists.
Yes.
I mean, it's worth noting. I mean, the New York Times is doing this series, Red Century, where they have, fascinating defenses of the communist Soviet Union. Women had better sex under socialism. That was the offering on Sunday. We'll see if we can get to that tortured defense of torture. Tony in Downers Grove.
Hey, Dan, thanks. And Dan, thanks for your last 20 seconds because you're right on. Let's just call all violence in any cause as domestic terror. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We'll just name it.
Right. Does it have to be complicated?
Nope. And the last caller, he was going to say the same thing I said. It's not just that. It's, how do I say it? Unfortunately, the KKK and the neo-Nazis, they come out under an issue that maybe a lot of people feel like, wait a second, history's trying to be erased here, and that's not right. On the left, they could do whatever they want because it's cloaked in superior morality, because there was slavery. So anything that they do to circumvent is fine. So if there were no neo-Nazis or KKK at that march, would the opposing group still have been there and still have been violent? That's my question. This is a bigger question than just this one march.
Well, right.
There's bigger issues here.
Thanks.
And Amy,
I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter, Amy, if whatever Obama said or Trump says, they can maybe help, but one was no better than the other in this case. So that the grandstanding about Trump didn't say enough is off base.
No, I don't think so at all.
Thanks for the call, Tony.
If he doesn't denounce the group, I think that they'll feel empowered. I mean, look, David Duke, the leader of the KKK, he was there to promote Trump's mission.
We are determined to take our country back. We're going to fulfill the promises of Donald Trump. That's what we believed in. That's why we voted for Donald Trump, because he said he's going to take our country back, and that's what we got to do.
Yeah, here's the thing. I guess since David Duke is a racist hate monger, I wouldn't take him at his word. And he doesn't get to appropriate somebody else's positions and then pollute those positions by extension. Those positions need to be evaluated on their own. So if David Duke said, I'm for free minds and free markets and a free society, well, I'm for those things. But David Duke isn't for those things, and so I don't really care what David Duke has to say. And he does not pollute what I believe by trying to attach himself to it. Tim in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I guess I would ask the question, the press seemed to take a different view of things when the former president, Mr. Obama, couldn't bring himself to call the war that we were engaged in, the war on terror. And I remember when there was a shooting at I believe it was an Army base.
Fort Hood.
Yeah, exactly. It was sort of this generalization of violence. It wasn't linked specifically to Islamic terror or to a radical Sharia law. It was just sort of, thrown in with the same kind of right-wing people who run around shooting people. And, it was just, I would just ask, why did they treat this differently now that he treated that in a general sense? President Trump could have been more specific here, but it was certainly no different than the way Mr. Obama handled the other violence.
Thanks for the call,
But
Tim.
he used to be so hard on President Obama. Call it out. Call it radical terrorism. Well, why didn't he call this out as domestic terrorism?
Eric Holder tweeted, if ISIS rammed a car into a crowd, this would be labeled quickly and logically. Charlottesville, call it what it is, domestic terrorism. To which Iowa Hawk responded, maybe you should sit this one out, Mr. Workplace Violence. Yeah. Very good stuff.
That's good. And I just texted one of my friends who's a huge Trump supporter, and I said, buyer's remorse yet? Are you mad? And he said, no, I like him better. He speaks the truth. He's not a politician.
By the way, here's the other thing that Obama had that Trump doesn't is apologists and interpreters in the D.C. press corps. Jeffrey Goldberg had a piece in The Atlantic over the weekend, what Obama could teach Trump about Charlottesville. And on this accusation that Obama and the left being hypocritical because they wouldn't call Islamic terrorism. Of course, this was a nuanced the nuanced brilliance of Barack Obama. In the words of Jeffrey Goldberg, the issue here is substantially larger than mere hypocrisy. Obama carefully measured his rhetoric in the war against Islamist terrorism because he hoped to avoid inserting the U.S. into the middle of an internecine struggle consuming another civilization. In other words, the internecine struggle between peaceful pluralist Muslims and the radical Islamists that are committing the terrorist acts. So Obama was properly restrained in not calling something what it is, whereas Trump is not. So this is where we get down the rabbit hole, unfortunately. I also, I go back to, I was just thinking about this, and so over the weekend with all the back and forth.
Yeah.
And it called to mind what Clemson football coach Dabo Swinney had to say last September. Now, this is in response at a post-game presser to the Black Lives Matter,
people taking a knee.
People taking a knee.
The national anthem.
Black individuals and police stops involving white police officers, right? Here's what Dabo Swinney, so let's get out of politics and perhaps get the common sense of a great football coach. Dabo Swinney on the topic, invoking Martin Luther King to start.
He changed the world through love in the face of hate. He changed the world through peace in the face of violence. He changed the world through education in the face of ignorance. And he changed the world through Jesus. And boy, that's politically incorrect.
And then do we have a race problem, or is it something else, Dabo?
There's thousands of perfect traffic stops. A lot of good men, a lot of good women. But those don't get the stories. But there's some bad ones, too. There's some criminals that wear badges. Guess what? There's some criminals that work in the media. There's some criminals that are football coaches. There's some criminals that are politicians. There are criminals that work in churches. I think we have a sin problem in the world. That's what I think. It's so easy to say we have a race problem. It's so easy. No, we got a sin problem. That's just my opinion. That's Dabo's opinion. And I think the answer to our problems is exactly where they were for Martin Luther King when he changed the world. Love, peace, education, tolerance of others, Jesus. That's what I think.
I think Dabo should be the next White House comm director.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You've heard me talk about my friends at Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville. They're well known for excellent customer service, including custom designs, jewelry repairs by their on-site expert craftsmen. Their knowledgeable and friendly staff always ensures that you feel like family. Right now, they're offering a special family incentive for everyone. 20% off jewelry repairs and custom designs. You mention my name, Mike Gallagher, and get this exclusive offer. Roland's Jewelers has a large selection of beautiful engagement rings, and they're a direct diamond importer. Take advantage of wholesale prices on quality loose diamonds, as well as fine jewelry from designers like Hearts on Fire, Simon G., John Hardy, and Roberto Coin. Don't forget to tell them Mike Gallagher sent you. You'll get 20% off jewelry repairs and custom designs. I want you to visit RolandsJewelers.com or call 847-918-7300, 847-918-7300. Roland's, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
Hey, it's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin with the overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast in Milwaukee. You could spend the night in Molly's room. It's a 2-room luxury suite with a private bath. It includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for only $85 a night. If you need to stay closer to home but want a night out, laugh out loud and be a part of the show at Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets are normally $44 a pair, but find them at ChicagoRadioDeals.com for only $22. And be sure to get your car ready for summer cruising with a deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. A full-service car wash package includes wash, vacuum, windows, dash, an $18 deal for only $10. Fun and adventure is waiting for you only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Dan Proft here with an important message for Chicagoland business owners. If you own or rent your building, chances are that you're paying more than your fair share of property taxes. Ask yourself this question. If you could lower your property taxes with the help of licensed professionals who have an 80% average success rate, yes, you heard that right, an 80% success rate, lowering business owners' property taxes, would you do that? Corporate Valuation Advisors has reduced their clients' property taxes on average by 20% over their 25-year service history throughout the greater Chicagoland area. Here's a Corporate Valuation Advisor's recent property tax savings success story from a local Chicago business owner. Their first year of property tax savings equaled $26,265. The total four-year property tax savings equaled $104,679. Call Corporate Valuation Advisors. They can help. 630-923-5371. That's 630-923-5371. You can also find them at yourfairtax.com or visit 560theanswer.com and look for the Corporate Valuation Advisors banner.
There's a really good reason why MyPillow continues to be an important sponsor of our show. It's because our listeners continue to buy MyPillows. Now, I hope you're having a great summer, but if you don't already sleep on a MyPillow, August can be even better. By using the promo code Amy, you'll get the absolute best deal available anywhere. It's the 50% discount on a MyPillow 4-pack, including 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. You can move the fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless if you sleep on your back or stomach. You'll sleep deep and won't wake up to a stiff neck or headache. Our friend Mike Lindell manufactures them in America using only American labor. The best part, you can wash them and dry them. They're hypoallergenic, and you'll get the 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. In August, get your 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201 and use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll switch gears to another threat to Western civilization. North Korea will discuss what the president should do about Kim Jong-un with John Bolton at 6:36.
And later, Scaramucci, all he wanted was to be given a bar of soap. We'll explain, but first into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
67 degrees, pressure mounting this morning from both political parties for President Donald Trump to explicitly condemn white supremacists and other hate groups. Trump initially responded to the deadly race-fueled clashes Saturday in Charlottesville by blaming bigotry on many sides. The Democratic mayor of Charlottesville, Virginia, Michael Singer, is not, however, expecting much support from the President of the United States and said so on MSNBC.
He's been on the sidelines for so much in this country for what working people need and for what a country that really needs to progress and heal and tell the truth about a lot of chapters in our history.
The college town looking to pick up the pieces after a weekend of violence between white nationalists and violent counter-protesters. The White House issued a more specific statement on Sunday, but not in Donald Trump's name. Vice President Mike Pence called out the fringe groups while traveling in South America.
These dangerous fringe groups have no place in American public life and in the American debate, and we condemn them in the strongest possible terms.
Marchers in other cities protested Confederate monuments and so-called white supremacy. This woman says they hope they can make a difference and change lives.
Other people may say, well, all you're doing is standing on the side and holding up a sign. What is that going to do? You know what? You never know.
At this Baltimore rally, marchers called on the city to remove a Jackson Lee monument near Johns Hopkins University. CIA Director Mike Pompeo says the North Koreans continue to move closer to having an effective nuclear missile.
Each time they test another missile, or if they should conduct a nuclear weapons test, they develop expertise, they expand the envelope. They are moving towards that at an ever-alarming rate.
Pompeo on Fox News Sunday. Amazon refunding money to anyone who bought counterfeit, potentially shoddy solar eclipse glasses. The online retail giant is contacting all of those shoppers who bought the glasses that say Amazon says may not comply with industry standards. Authorities are searching for the gunman who shot and killed 3 Illinois men, at least two of which are from Aurora, the Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin. The suspect is still being sought. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side near 102nd and Ewing. The homeowner shot the intruders, according to police, then called 911, and authorities do believe that shooting was in self-defense. Autopsies are planned later today for 2 women who died in a multi-vehicle crash in Algonquin. Vehicles colliding yesterday in the 900 block of East Algonquin Road. Javi Baez broke the game open with a 3-run home run in the 8th. Cubs beat the Diamondbacks 7-2, backing Jake Arrieta to the win. Royals beat the White Sox 14-6. And the news is a service of Office Depot Office Max. Shop the Office Depot Office Max Back to School 1 cent event. Going on now. Select items 1 cent each, in-store only, limit 3 each while supplies last. Offer with $5 minimum purchase before tax, ends 8/26. 6:34 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
And finally, here's a way you can save time. Use Spot Hero anytime you park downtown. First-time users can enter promo code CITY for $10 off. Spot Hero. Park smarter.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I've had 10 major surgeries, including 3 brain surgeries. And I have extreme rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and fibromyalgia. And I wanted to let him know that his Balance of Nature have helped boost my immune system so much, because I'm on injectable medications for the rheumatoid, and they bring down your immune system. Since I've been taking Balance of Nature, I haven't gotten a cold, nothing. It really helped me tremendously.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? You should know. The credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people, they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-518-4020. 800-518-4020. That's 800-518-4020.
6:37. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the north side of Chicago, Howard Street is closed in Clark and Wolcott after an early morning shooting. Edens, 19 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The inbound Kennedy, 24 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, but outbound 36. There are delays on westbound 190. The Kennedy to the Tri-State. On Eisenhower, heavy starting at Manhunt. 35 minutes either way between Thorndale and downtown. Mount Stevenson, heavy. Veterans Parkway to past Lamont Road. Crash on the shoulder. Several vehicles are involved there. You get a travel time of 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Up on 39. Ryan from 95th to downtown is 25 minutes. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. The other tollways are good. Traffic also is a service of Office Depot Office Max. Shop the Office Depot Office Max Back to School 1 cent event going on now. Select items 1 cent each. In-store only, limit 3 each while supplies last. Offer with $5 minimum purchase before tax. Ends 8/26. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Partly sunny and 83 in your forecast. Passing showers overnight, low 66. 66 degrees officially at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
The hypocrites scatter when I shine the bright light of reason. I'm Larry Elder. Join me tonight at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So outside of Charlottesville, we have other and bigger problems, potentially. One is that little dictator in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, and his pursuit of arguably success in developing a nuclear program. And now the saber-rattling that has ensued, including the prospect of yet another missile test in territorial waters not far from the coast of Guam.
Yes, and over the weekend, President Trump called the governor of Guam to let him know that we're with you 1,000%.
We are with you 1,000%. Eddie, I have to tell you, you've become extremely famous. All over the world, they're talking about Guam, and they're talking about you, and I think your tourism, you're going to go up in like tenfold with the expenditure of no money, so I congratulate.
Kind of a lighthearted comment. Like, you're doing great, but tourism is just going to be a boom for you after all of this. But
so
over the weekend,
little comedic relief there.
Yeah, but the residents of Guam, I mean, they did hand out flyers to them to tell them what to do in case there is a possible nuclear attack, telling them do not look at the bright light because it will blind you, and take precautions to hide in a room that has no windows. So, I mean, the residents are a little on edge.
Yeah, that's real helpful. That's tantamount to the old 50s exercises in school classrooms with hiding under your desk or putting your head between your knees. I mean, I don't think that's going to work. But if it comes to that, ideally it won't. But it's nice to have the president and the governor of Guam on the same page and talking. Could we do something more? Oh, by the way, Guam, not the only one circulating information about what to do in case of a nuclear attack. We have clownish politicians doing that here in Chicago.
Yes, we do. That there's a nuclear attack, what you can do to protect your family, and everybody should have a plan where to meet, what to do, and to again hide in a room that has no windows
and if there's
doors, and that you should have rations stored.
If there's anybody that I look to for guidance in these matters, like all matters, it's Chicago politicians.
Yeah, the Office of Emergency Management and Communications.
All right, so if we can go from hysteria and cartoonish reactions to a serious discussion with former ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, that would be good. And fortunately, we have John Bolton. Ambassador Bolton, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
So your kind of drill down in terms of where you think the threat level is posed by Kim Jong-un and what the administration should be doing now that it isn't.
Well, I think it's a serious situation. I think they've demonstrated, the North Koreans, that they've got a ballistic missile capability that's growing in its range. The two tests in July, I think our analysts believe could hit much of the continental United States. We've heard via the Washington Post of a intelligence study of the Defense Department that says they think North Korea has mastered the critical step of being able to miniaturize a nuclear device to the point it can go under a missile nose cone, and various other things that are coming together to show that North really is on the verge of becoming a substantial nuclear weapon state. The administration response, I have to say so far, is, leaving the president aside, is not adequate. Today in the Wall Street Journal, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State have an op-ed that reads like it's from the Hillary Clinton administration. We want to negotiate with North Korea. We seek the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We don't oppose the regime in North Korea. We're not seeking reunification. That is the policy that we followed for the past three administrations that has brought us to the point we're at today, where this threat is ever more manifest. And the irony is that at the end of last week, Susan Rice, Obama's national security advisor, had an op-ed where she said, and she confirmed it in television interviews, the policies of the past three administrations have failed. She said, you can call it failure, Now, she then goes on to say, we have to accept the nuclear North Korea, which is thoroughly incorrect. But Al Gore said much the same thing. James Clapper, the former director of national intelligence for the Obama administration, said the same thing. So here are the people whose policies brought us to this unhappy point, saying basically their policies have failed, and it's precisely those policies that the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense today are saying they want to pursue. I cannot understand it.
So many world leaders over the weekend were urging restraint with this war of words between Kim Jong-un and President Trump. Is there any way that we can, de-escalate this and they can talk to each other? Is that a possibility? Or is our goal of a regime change in North Korea?
Well, I don't think it is a war of words. I think I disagree with those who say that Trump is being too bellicose. Remember, he comes after 8 years of a president who could barely bring himself to assert American national interest, who drew red lines in the sand in Syria on chemical weapons and didn't follow through. So I think there's a very dangerous misimpression around the world that the United States is a paper tiger. And frankly, if you look at our defense posture and the budget cuts that Obama imposed over 8 years, we've got some serious problems to overcome. So I think it was important for the president to make it clear he's not Barack Obama. And I think that message was intended not just for North Korea, but for China as well. I'll say it as bluntly as I can. There is no point in talking to North Korea. We have been talking to North Korea directly, indirectly, on and off for 25 years.
Right.
And during that period, on multiple occasions, they have solemnly pledged to give up their nuclear weapons program. And they have lied about it every time they've done it. That's why we're at the point we're at today.
Well,
so, we could sit down and talk to them. They'd pledge to give up their nuclear program again, and they wouldn't do it.
So how should Trump's bellicose words be backed up with action to give them meaning? Where do we go from here in addition to the economic sanctions imposed?
Sorry to come back to this. I don't think his words are bellicose. I think his is the language of deterrence.
Okay.
If you come after us, if you continue to pursue this threat to the civilian population of the United States, we will act in our own self-defense. I don't think that's bellicose. I think he's got one diplomatic play left. I wrote an op-ed for the Hill newspaper yesterday that's online that explains that the diplomatic strategy I would pursue would be to try and persuade China that it's in their national interest as well as ours to reunite the two Koreas, essentially have a South Korean takeover of the North. You end the North Korean nuclear threat by ending North Korea. Failing that, I think you've got to look at the military option. Here's the question that people, every citizen listening, should ask themselves. Are you prepared to have the present crisis end with North Korea still having a nuclear weapons program that within a couple of years at the outside will be able to hit any target they want in the United States? If you're willing to accept that, and Susan Rice and Al Gore and James Clapper are, then, there's not really nothing more to worry about. It's a fait accompli. It's a done deal.
Well,
if, on the other hand, you believe that we cannot live in safety with the North having that capability, and I might say Iran, then you've got to look at the military option.
Develop what the military option would look like to achieve what you're suggesting needs to be achieved, the reunification, the denuclearization of the North.
Well, there are a whole range of potential military options. And I think, frankly, some of them we've already been engaged in: sabotage operations, cyber warfare against the nuclear program, that kind of thing. They would have to be escalated. The fear is, and it's a legitimate fear, that any use of force risks a broader conflict on the Korean Peninsula. So you have to think about what else would accompany the use of force against the North Korean nuclear program to minimize or eliminate North Korea's retaliatory capability against South Korea. And I think that's what much of the debate is about, and appropriately so.
So President Trump said, we're locked and loaded. North Korea, Kim Jong-un said they're going to have a strike within the next few days here. What if the strike comes within 12 miles of Guam? Is that considered an act of war?
Well, I would consider it to be so. Remember, Guam, I mean, I know it's a long way away. Guam is sovereign American territory. The people on Guam are American citizens. If the governor with whom President Trump was speaking has a family or his children have children, at birth they are American citizens. So an attack on Guam is an equivalent to an attack on California. And I would also say that if the North launches missiles in the direction of Guam, but they don't quite make it, I think that's grounds for retaliation. You know, if they fired a missile at Chicago, but it blew up over Canada, we wouldn't say, oh, no harm, no foul, we'll let it go. We'd treat it as an attack. A failed attack, we'd still treat it as an attack.
He is former United States Ambassador to the UN, John Bolton, a scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. Ambassador Bolton, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, glad to be with you. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. Economic reports due this week. A leaked email shows HBO negotiating with hackers, and SoundCloud gets new funds and management. Those stories next.
If you have unpaid tax debt to the IRS that you can't pay, please hear this special notice. Specially approved IRS relief programs designed to aid delinquent taxpayers are now in effect that can significantly improve your financial situation. Depending on your circumstances, you may qualify to have your tax problem resolved in your favor and may even have your back taxes reduced by thousands or eliminated entirely. A relief hotline has been established by Community Tax for you to call and see if you qualify at 800-804-7445. If you owe the IRS back taxes that you can't afford to pay, don't let the IRS trick you into thinking you have no way out. Our highly accredited tax professionals will let you know what you qualify for and how much you can save. We may be able to stop all liens, garnishments, levies, and save you thousands. Call and see if you qualify for this taxpayer relief at 800-804-7445. 800-804-7445. That's 800-804-7445. Community Tax. Who's your tax guy?
Economic reports this week include the latest on retail sales, import and export prices, business inventories, industrial production, consumer sentiment, and the housing sector. Hackers have released an email from HBO in which the company expressed willingness to pay them $250,000 as part of a negotiation over electronic data taken from HBO's servers. The July 27th email was sent by an HBO executive who thanked the hackers for making us aware of previously unknown security vulnerabilities. Reuters is reporting that SoundCloud is receiving a substantial round of funding and new top management. The online streaming service hopes the moves will keep it from running out of cash later this year. The company laid off 40% of its staff in July. Please tune in for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. I'm Keith Peters for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium original content on our digital platform that complements what we do each morning on this show. Long-form interviews in our Against the Current series. This week featuring Senator Ted Cruz. You want to check that out. Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments this week on the Charlie Gard case and whether or not Chicagoans support single-payer, government-run health care. 60 seconds of sanity commentaries from yours truly, as well as podcast for Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics, focused on the school funding impasse at present. And, of course, our new series, Heart of the Matter, which focuses on professional women speaking colleague to colleague about the salient policy issues of the day. You can get it all at upstream-ideas.com.
Yes, indeed. Summertime. Another hot one. Wait, gonna be a little bit cooler today. Back to hot. Gonna be windy. Maybe a thunderstorm mixed in for good measure. Up and down and up and down. The climate is always changing. Your company's heating and cooling system really gets a workout in Chicagoland. Be ready for anything this summer. Call Air Comfort and get your business's cooling system tuned up and running at peak performance. You see, the Air Comfort problem solvers can find small problems before they become big problems. Plus, proper maintenance will keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your chiller is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key to keep your climate from changing is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. Born and raised in Chicagoland, my partners and I knew this city needed a locally owned business bank. As fellow entrepreneurs, we know the challenges facing businesses, and we are invested in our customers' success. We are here to build mutually beneficial, long-term, lasting relationships with our customers. We look forward to helping our customers reach their goals every day, and we are here to see them succeed. At Signature Bank, you work directly with decision makers who understand your business and can deliver on their promises.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-400-4173. That's 1-800-400-4173. 1-800-400-4173.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. If you're purchasing a home within the next year, this is very important. Your credit score is the most important factor in determining your interest rate and monthly payments. I strongly advise listeners purchasing a home to contact me as far in advance as possible so I can pre-qualify you for free. I will analyze your credit and make recommendations to improve your credit scores so you can secure the lowest rate when purchasing a home. Paying banks and other lenders a fee to get pre-qualified is ridiculous. If you're purchasing a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com and get pre-qualified for free. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358, and MLS 19186.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and too often people tell me that they have heard our advertisements for years. If Balance of Nature is not currently being delivered to your doorstep, start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life. Call and see how you can get your free month supply.
I noticed a difference in the first month.
I got rid of most of my other vitamins. I feel pretty good, even though I'm an old guy, 77. I think it's doing great.
I just feel good. I just believe they're really what they say they are.
Good health is only a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to find out how to get your free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, it's the big season for Mega Millions and Powerball now that Illinois is back online with both.
I know, and it's great. And the big winning ticket, the only winner of the Mega Millions ticket worth $393 million, was sold in Palos Heights, Illinois at Nick's Barbecue. They haven't come forward yet, but Nick's Barbecue, they receive $500,000. So
good for Nick's Barbecue.
Yeah.
The odds in context, the chance of holding both a winning ticket for the Mega Millions and the Powerball are about 6,000 times worse than being killed by a meteor strike at the same time as you're being attacked by a shark. So
the odds are against you.
But here's the real deal. There's a great piece in Zero Hedge, zerohedge.com. Americans spend more money on lottery tickets than on movies, video games, music, sports tickets, and books combined.
Really?
$80 billion on lottery tickets in the year 2016. American adults spend an average of $251 on lottery tickets with a return of 53 cents on the dollar. This means the average person threw away $118 on successful lotto tickets. Not a great investment. This is an example, particularly because they're state-run, of predatory government policy that particularly targets the poor. I mean, that's what it does. You look at the distribution of where lottery tickets are sold. They're not sold in Winnetka and Kenilworth. They're sold in the south and west sides of Chicago, just to provide one comparison.
And you know what? Art Norman from Channel 5, remember him? African-American anchor. Sure. He would say that all the time. And he would tell the African-American community, don't get sucked into it. Do what I do. He's never bought a lottery ticket in his life because he knew the target audience that they were going after.
Good for Art Norman, and a reminder about the predatory nature of government to those who rely on it so much and look to it as of this virtuous institution. All right, coming up at 7:07, speaking of the government, the governor, Bruce Rauner, gave his first national interview on Friday to Bret Baier. How did he fare at 7:07?
And later, Scaramucci, all he wanted was a bar of soap. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A Wisconsin sheriff says 3 are dead at a Wisconsin auto event. Details on that coming up after Fox News, WIND, Chicago News Time, 7.
A vigil in Virginia. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Hundreds gathered last night at the scene of Saturday's violence between white nationalist marchers and counter-protesters. The man accused of driving into them has a court hearing this morning facing a murder charge. Fox's Evan Brown live in Charlottesville.
Dave, James Fields Jr. makes a video appearance this morning before a judge in a bond hearing. Fields is from a suburb of Toledo, Ohio, who came specifically for the alt-right group protest. And most people from here will tell you those white supremacists are not their neighbors.
A lot of the people were not even from this area. It has nothing to do with Charlottesville, and they weren't welcome here, and they pushed this upon us.
It's unknown if those groups have left Charlottesville yet. Police have been warning people to stay away from what might look like any of their gatherings, Dave.
Even Democrats and Republicans have been critical of President Trump, not specifically calling out white nationalists after Charlottesville, but Vice President Pence did while in Columbia.
We have no tolerance for hate and violence from white supremacists, neo-Nazis, or the KKK.
President Trump's heading back to Washington, tweeting much to do, focusing on trade and the military. He'll sign an executive order urging his trade representative to consider investigating China for stealing its U.S. technology and intellectual property. China warns that could trigger a trade war as China puts a squeeze on North Korea. Fox's Simon Owen has more live.
Dave, China announcing a ban on imports of various North Korean goods, including coal and seafood. The Commerce Ministry in Beijing out with an order effective from tomorrow. This after China signed up to US-drafted sanctions agreed at the UN earlier this month. The UN estimates these penalties could cost North Korea $1 billion a year, cutting its export revenue by a third. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson says the US will be watching to see if they're implemented. Dave?
This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Partly cloudy skies this morning. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. Protesters in Chicago denouncing racism and violence after protests were held over the weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia. Chicago Bears offensive lineman Kyle Long speaking out after the protest turned violent in his hometown of Charlottesville. He spoke to reporters yesterday after Bears training camp.
Regardless of where it's happening, injustice in the world we live in is, in any place, is injustice to humanity, and it's a threat to the freedoms we have.
Long adding it was shocking to see those type of events unfolding in such a quiet city that he grew up in. Authorities are searching for a gunman who shot and killed 3 Illinois men from the suburbs of Chicago at the Great Lakes Dragway in southeast Wisconsin. Sheriff's office there reporting that more than 5,000 were at that event, Larry's Fun Fest at a speedway near Union Grove. Brian Mitchell volunteers at the track.
This is a crowd that's really going out of their way to make something good happen, and one bad apple came in and ruined it for them.
At least 2 of the victims we know from police were from West Suburban Aurora. Law enforcement believes the suspect drove off in a black vehicle. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side. It happened, according to police, yesterday near 102nd and Ewing. The Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo will be in court in Brooklyn today, trying to get approval to replace his lawyers. Joaquin Guzman, who federal prosecutors say flooded the streets of Chicago with deadly drugs, wants to ditch his public defenders. Cubs over the Diamondbacks 7-2. Jake Arrieta the win. Royals over the White Sox 14-6. The news is a service of Accountemps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance pros can be a challenge. Let Accountemps help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance candidates, you can be sure to find the professional with the skills for your hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
One of the biggest fears for retirees and soon-to-be retirees, do I have enough? Do I have enough money to last for the rest of my life? I hear it every day when I meet with individuals, and it's for good reason. Check this statistic out. If you were born in 1800, you could expect to live until you were 39 years old. In 1900, 49. That number jumped to 68 in 1950, and today it's 79. How many people do you know that are in their 80s, in their 90s? Hi, this is Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. here on AM 560. So how do you help ensure you never run out of money in retirement? The answers are in our special report, Maximizing Income in Retirement. In this powerful report, you'll discover successful tools and strategies on how to help turbocharge your income in retirement and how to position and protect your money regardless of what happens in the stock market. Call now to receive this report, Maximizing Income in Retirement, and will include 6 strategies to tax-free income. Call the Alpha Wealth Group, 630-519-4742 right now to receive your free report. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. If you're in the market to buy a home right now, you know how challenging it is out there. You're competing against cash buyers, so it's critical that you work with a reputable, established mortgage company like Quicken Loans. By getting pre-approved with us, sellers will know that you're serious and ready to close when you make that offer. Here's one more way to get the home you want. You could buy a $150,000 home with as little as $1,500 down with our 1% down payment option. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 4th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
7:06 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. The latest on this Monday morning with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Seeing early morning delays to the Veterans Memorial Tollway, slow northbound Findlay to Roosevelt, and farther north, the Army Trail toll to 290. Northbound Tri-State, the delays, the 83rd Street toll to 75th, from the Stevenson to 47th, Reagan tollway to North Avenue, and from the Bensonville Bridge to Balmoral. The other tollways are clear. Eden's inbound, 22 minutes from Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 21. Kennedy, 34 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 15 from Montrose, 13 in the Express. Outbound, 14 minutes to Montrose, 45 to the airport. Westbound 190 is slow from Kennedy to Tri-State. Down Eisenhower, 40 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 37. Down Stevenson, 48 minutes, 355, Lakeshore Drive after a crash past Lamont Road. Outbound, it's 45 minutes to 355. Bryant, 95th to downtown, in a travel time of 24 minutes. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Partial sunshine today, high 83, then a partly cloudy night with a passing late night shower, low 66. Tomorrow, humid with partial sunshine, high 82, and a thunderstorm late tomorrow night, otherwise mostly cloudy, low 68. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
66 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We'll get back to Charlottesville, but we have a lot going on stateside in Illinois, including this school funding impasse. The Senate Democrats, and one Republican in name only named Sam McCann from downstate, voted yesterday, Senate in session on Sunday, to override the governor's veto of so-called Senate Bill 1, which was the school funding bill that was passed by Chicago Democrats and their handmaidens around the state. But here's the rub on their override. The House may take this override up on Wednesday. Democrats are the proponents of the philosophy that more money spent on education equals better schools. Now, that turns out not to be true, but that's their philosophy. So they got a little bit of a problem here because the Illinois State Board of Education released numbers over the weekend that found Governor Rauner's amendatory veto of the legislation passed by Chicago Democrats provides more money than did their legislation, the Democrats, for 97% of Illinois school districts. You know who the big winners are? The winners are those school districts Rauner said would be winners, those that are majority-minority school districts in places like Waukegan and Rockford and Aurora and Cicero and East St. Louis and Danville. In point of fact, the chief Senate sponsor of the Democrat bill, Andy Minar from Decatur, his schools would receive an additional $8.7 million under Rauner's amendatory veto as compared to his own legislation. And what did Andy Minar do yesterday?
Let me guess.
Voted to override
the veto.
Governor Rauner's veto. Right? So tell me again that Democrats want to fund schools and Republicans don't? That Democrats care about your child's education and Republicans don't? Now, this is starting from a premise which I reject in part. I amendatorily reject. How about that? Which is more money equals better schools, and I'll get to that in a second. But that's the belief that most Illinoisans have. No question about it, unfortunately. And so if that's your belief, then who is serving your interests? The governor or Chicago Democrats and their minions like Andy Minar in Decatur? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. And also all those superintendents, the appendages of the Democratic Party, so many of the educrats in administrations and school districts, and who decry the governor and decry Republicans because they're aligned with Democrats. They are rejecting more money for their schools under Governor Rauner's amendatory veto, just to make it clear. And this more money for 97% of school districts comes at the expense of bailing out Chicago public schools yet again. He won't do it. The governor won't. That's what Democrats want. And so, again, to understand this, suburban families, exurban families, downstate families, the Democrats are willing to raid your school districts to bail out Chicago yet again. And the governor took that money instead and put it through an amended formula and redistributed it statewide. And 97% of the school districts win. And some, and particularly those that have significant challenges and majority-minority populations, win the most. Okay? So you got to pick your poison here. You either start from a premise you believe and you follow it to its natural conclusion in terms of who is representing your interests as you define them, or you're just a partisan hack, like the members of the Illinois General Assembly and the Dem side, like those in the Senate who voted to override the governor's veto in contravention of their school district's interests. That's how lobotomized the Democrat Party is in this state. They are willing lemmings to the sea to follow Madigan and Cullerton.
And if parents don't think that this isn't affecting them or their children, point in case, we just had 2 teachers at Blaine leave. They just resigned because they are worried about the school budget and they're worried about CPS and the pension. So they're getting out.
By the way,
because there's no hope. They believe that there's no hope.
Well, central planning doesn't work. Doesn't work in education. Didn't work in agrarian co-ops in the Soviet Union. It doesn't work. But here's the thing. We did the story looking at the premise, just to broaden the discussion to those who don't accept the premise like myself. Last 20 years.
Yeah.
Not spending enough on education, right? Okay. Illinois, this is in ChicagoCityWire.com. Illinois K through 12 spending increased by 74% in real terms over the last 20 years. While
74%?
Yeah. While the enrollment over that same period rose just 6%. 12 times faster than enrollment increase did spending increase. In 1997, 905 Illinois public school districts served 1.7 million students, spent $21.4 billion adjusted for inflation, $12,342 per student. Last year, 852 school districts serving 1.8 million students spent $37 billion. That's $20,191 per student. So $20,191 per pupil versus $12,342 per pupil, real dollars. An increase of 74% with an enrollment increase for 6%. And what have we gotten in terms of performance results?
What have we gotten for that money?
Flat. Flat. So, and by the way, TRS, Teachers Retirement System, so its debt jumped from $9.6 billion in 1997 to $71 billion in 2016. Chicago Teachers Pension Fund had just $20 million in debt in 97. Last year, it had $9.6 billion in debt. So you want to turn this over to Chicago Democrats, as you have done over the last 20 years, Illinois families? These are the results. These are the results. Those are the numbers. You can put any spin on it you want. Those are the numbers. Okay? Governor Rauner did his first national interview on Bret Baier's show on Friday. Oh, boy.
I know.
The reviews.
It's like one of those horror films you don't want to look, where you're looking in between your fingers.
Well, let me just say the reviews, at least from conservatives, would have his show, if it was a Broadway show, would close after opening night. But
can we say what Ann Coulter tweeted?
We'll get to that. But here's Rauner on school funding, one piece of it, Rauner on school funding. So just to close the loop on this.
Well, the Democrats, before I became governor, cut school funding for our state 4 times in the prior 10 years. We were the worst funded schools in America from a state government perspective as a percentage of overall spending. Terrible failure. And as a result, we had the biggest gap between what low-income schools got and high income. I said change it, make it more equitable. We passed a good school funding bill on a bipartisan basis that I championed, but the Democrats in the majority in the House inserted a poison pill, a pension bailout for the city of Chicago, hundreds of millions of dollars every year diverted away from classrooms in the suburbs and downstate. So I had to mandatory veto that bill, and we're going to get it fixed so it's fair and more equitable for everybody.
So that
wasn't bad.
No, that was good, and that's what he did. Again, if you start from that premise, which the majority of Illinois families do. So I'd love to hear from all of those kind of centrist, gooey suburban families who've been voting Democrat and been touting this line that the Democrats are interested in school funding and Republicans aren't. Well, here are the numbers. You just heard them. Explain them back to me and explain your support for roll call Democrat votes for Mike Madigan and John Cullerton and the power structure that has put the schools where they are. You have choices. Now, Rauner also addressed a number of other issues, or was prompted to. Whether he addressed them effectively or not is open to interpretation.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this.
I think sanctuary city discussion and sanctuary state discussion with that legislation pending on his desk drew the most criticism from what I saw on social media and heard in political circles. Here is Bret Baier asking the question of, look, are you on Rahm's side or Trump's side when it comes to the sanctuary city stuff?
Who are you with on this one, President Trump or Mayor Emanuel?
Well, I can tell you this. Illinois is a state built by immigrants. My grandparents were immigrants, and 1 in 7 people in Illinois are immigrants. So this is a very, very big issue. I personally feel like we've got to have a system of immigration that works. Our system is broken. We need fundamental, dramatic immigration reform. And rather than lawsuits and rather than name calling or fighting about which community is going to enforce our laws, laws and which aren't. I think we should have a thoughtful, rational discussion about our immigration laws themselves. Which ones should we enforce and which ones should we change or repeal? That'd be far more productive.
Oh, yeah, dodging the question. So he didn't answer the question.
Bret Baier, try it again.
Okay. Why shouldn't Chicago follow federal law?
Well, I tell you this, the system is broken. We need to keep our people safe. Here's the issue. We have to put priority on keeping the people of America safe and making sure that we have laws that we enforce and that the laws are rational and they're implemented everywhere.
So, Bret Baier, try it again. Are you going to sign Senate Bill 31, the sanctuary state legislation?
So you have this bill, SB 31, on your desk. According to the Chicago Tribune, the bill would prohibit police from searching, arresting, or detaining a person because of their immigration status, absent a federal criminal warrant. It would also create so-called safe zones in state-funded schools, healthcare centers, Secretary of State facilities, and block state and local enforcement agencies from creating registries based on race, religion, and national origin. So are you going to sign that bill?
So our staff is evaluating that bill right now. In fact, we are meeting with law enforcement agencies and law enforcement leaders in the state to get their views on it. We're going to evaluate it, and then we'll make an announcement about how we're going to deal with it.
There's some families who say they've lost loved ones because of sanctuary status or policy, and they're trying to meet with you. Do you want to hear that point of view?
I want to hear everybody's point of view. You know, I work for everybody in the state of Illinois. Our immigration system is broken, and we need to have a system that keeps the people of Illinois safe, the people of America safe. We got to put that as the first priority.
So I'm still trying to get, do you agree with the president or not that sanctuary cities are a problem?
Well, I tell you this. What I say is immigration in America is broken. We make illegal immigration easy, and we make legal immigration almost impossible. We need dramatic immigration reform.
All right, so we're going to be a sanctuary state. He said, by the way, 5 brokens. We're broken.
Yeah.
We're broken. The policy's broken. Yeah, so bottom line is he's going to sign it. That's my interpretation of what he was saying.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, Mark Batnick will be here, state rep. But first, here's your forecast. Partly sunny today, a high of 83 degrees. Then tonight, we're going to have a passing shower. And then tomorrow, it's going to be humid with some sunshine, a high of 82. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Dan, Northside Howard remains closed between Clark and Wolcott after an early morning shooting on the north side. West side got a major crash at Cicero and Madison. The Edens is 21 minutes from Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 22 to Kennedy, 34 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 38. Eisenhower, 37 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 42. Stevenson delays start inbound around 53 past Lamont Road. There's a crash on the right shoulder. It's 48 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound 45. Ryan is 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 17 minutes. I-80 to the merge, Bishop 420. Northbound Tri-State slow from the 83rd Street toll to 75th, from the Stevenson to 47th. Then from the Reagan Tollway much of the way to Balmoral. Northbound Veterans Memorial, so 75th to the Reagan Tollway. Finley to Roosevelt, and from the Army Trail toll to 290. Jim Talamonte and the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Back in 1993, Medi-Share was known as the best-kept secret in healthcare. But not anymore. Today, there are hundreds of thousands of Americans who've discovered what us long-timers have known since the beginning. Medi-Share is affordable health care that really works. The great thing is we're not an insurance company. We're a nonprofit community. Hundreds of thousands of honest, hardworking people who agree to share each other's medical bills. Every share goes to help a fellow member. And when we say affordable, we mean it's common for our members to save upwards of $500 a month. Best of all, Medi-Share is always open. You can join anytime. So how about now? Isn't it time you joined Medi-Share?
Call 844-41-BIBLE to find out how much you can save on your health care. Medi-Share, now available in Montana. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE.
Acme Home Insurance.
Yes, I'd like to make a claim.
What are you wanting to claim, sir?
My air conditioner broke down.
Sorry, but your home insurance doesn't cover air conditioner breakdowns.
So what do you cover?
Home damage from things like earthquakes, volcanoes, a zombie apocalypse.
A zombie apocalypse? But that'll never happen.
But if it did, you'd be covered, sir.
But not my air conditioner?
I'm afraid not.
But his air conditioner could have been covered with a home warranty from American Home Shield, plus major components of 20 other home systems and appliances, like his electrical system, plumbing, refrigerator, and more. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-3861. Homeowners insurance can cover what might happen.
Zombies are coming!
But a home warranty helps cover what will happen.
Now the dryer won't work.
Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For valuable free information, call 1-800-300-3861. That's 1-800-300-3861. 1-800-300-3861.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right, we're talking about the school funding imbroglio with the Senate moving to override Governor Rauner's mandatory veto yesterday, despite the fact that, according to Illinois State Board of Education analysis, 97% of school districts receive more money under Rauner's mandatory veto than they do under the Chicago Democrats' plan to bail out Chicago again at everybody else's expense. For more on this, as the override effort moves to the House, we're pleased to be joined by our friend, State Representative Mark Batnick, Republican state rep from Plainfield. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
So what about the Senate action on Sunday in the wake of these ISBE numbers that show 97% of school districts win and no school district loses money under the governor's mandatory veto? And what are the prospects for Democrats to woo a few Republicans that they need in the House to override the governor's veto and finish the job started by Senate yesterday?
Well, I hope it doesn't happen, but then again, that's what I hope is going to happen with the tax increase in passed. Though likely we did have one Republican that represents Chicago vote for SB1 originally, so it'll be interesting to see what happens now. But and I think you mentioned it early coming up to this, is that I'm surprised so many suburban Democratic legislators voted for SB1, which clearly just games the system and directs a lot of money to Chicago. And that is at the expense of suburban districts like the one I'm in. I'm just surprised at the lockstep support for basically the Chicago bailout that I saw.
Well, they're saying that the money going to CPS and the Chicago bailout, alleged bailout, or you say it's a bailout, others don't. They say that money is going to be grandfathered in over time. Can you clarify that?
I have no idea. All I know is that they grandfathered in over time. They must be referring to that we keep giving more and more money.
That's exactly
to the system under this. I think I mentioned this when I was on a few weeks ago about this. There's like little issue after little issue after little issue where they game it to fudge the numbers Chicago's way. For example, the hold harmless for school district versus population. Chicago Public Schools is losing population. Now, the money needs to go where the schools are or where the children are. And if some districts are growing and some districts are shrinking, you would think that at some point the money needs to go to the districts that are growing with students, yet somehow we made it the whole harmless per district, which helps Chicago. I can guarantee you that if Chicago is gaining students, the whole harmless would have been per student instead of per district. But it's layer after layer after layer, small things that they did that games the system for Chicago to get more money.
Now, another piece of this that's been under negotiation, and it's still pending to see if there's a deal that can be reached before the House moves to effort and override perhaps on Wednesday, is tax credit scholarships. The Chicago Tribune opined in support of tax credit scholarships over the weekend, suggesting, this is a rare opportunity for Illinois to actually become a national leader in providing choice in education through voluntary donations and tax credits for said donations that fund scholarships for low to middle income families to have the same choice that the rich and the politically connected have.
Well, I've certainly been a proponent of things like that. It'd be interesting to see how much of a game changer that would be, because when you look at the dollars spent per pupil, specifically in the city of Chicago, that we were going to ramp up, and the quality of the education that they are getting or not getting versus what the private sector is able to provide, it's certainly an interesting dichotomy. So we'll see where negotiations go on that, but I think the most important thing that has to happen first is when we go back on Wednesday, the other 50 Republicans need to hold firm and get a bill that's truly good for the state, not just good for one small section of the state.
I presume you saw Ronner's interview with Bret Baier on Friday and dancing around the issue of Senate Bill 31, the sanctuary state legislation, which I know you voted against. It's on the governor's desk. What should he do?
Believe it or not, I did not see his interview, other than the fact that I heard that he said we had a broken system several times.
Yeah.
I didn't support the measure, so I would hope that the governor's in the same camp.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with that. But from the way it sounded with the interview, it sounds to me like he's going to be signing that bill.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, I heard on the run up to this, some clips, and I do want to sit down and watch that interview longer. There certainly is a potential for an amendatory veto to make parts of it a better bill, but I'll be interesting to see what he does with that bill.
He is State Representative Mark Batnick, Republican from Plainfield. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll pick up our discussion on Charlottesville and get a little bit more background on that neo-Nazi murderer, alleged murderer, I suppose, at this point, at 7:37.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
67 degrees, partly sunny skies. Vice President Mike Pence unsparing in his condemnation of neo-Nazis and white supremacists after the deadly attack on counter-protesters at a white nationalist rally in Virginia.
We have no tolerance for hate and violence from white supremacists, neo-Nazis, or the KKK.
Pence telling reporters in Columbia yesterday that he is offering a full-throated condemnation of those who attacked protesters. A 20-year-old Ohio man accused of murder by driving his car into a crowd of counter-protesters at that rally in Virginia makes his first court appearance today. James Field faces charges including second-degree murder in the death of 32-year-old Heather Heyer, mayor of Charlottesville, Virginia, looking forward to things returning to normal in his city soon.
He's been on the sidelines for so much in this country for what working people need and for what a country that really needs to progress and heal and tell the truth about a lot of chapters in our history.
Michael Singer saying he's not expecting much support from the President of the United States. Meantime, 2 Virginia state troopers also died Saturday in a helicopter crash near the scene of the violence. A SpaceX Dragon supply ship is getting ready to head to the International Space Station. The cargo includes food, spare parts, and 20 mice for use in experiments while in orbit. Authorities are searching for a gunman who shot and killed 3 suburban men at a Great Lakes dragway. Sheriff's Office in southeast Wisconsin estimates there were more than 5,000 at that raceway near Union Grove, where Brian Mitchell is a volunteer.
They bring their kids, and mom and dad and the grandpas and aunts and uncles. I mean, they're all here to have a family event. This isn't about, drugs or riffraff or causing trouble or being obnoxious.
At least 2 of the victims, according to police, were from Aurora. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side. No one in custody after 2 were killed in a shooting outside a Chicago church in the Austin neighborhood yesterday. Charges are pending after a man was killed in an apparent domestic stabbing in St. Charles. The victim found stabbed early yesterday on the grounds outside a home on Long Ridge Road. Cubs over the Diamondbacks 7-2, while the Royals beat the White Sox 14-6. The news is a service of Office Depot Office Max. Shop the Office Depot Office Max Back to School 1 cent event going on now. Select items 1 cent each, in-store only. Limit 3 each while supplies last. Offer with $5 minimum purchase before tax. Ends 8/26. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
And finally, here's a way you can save time. Use Spot Hero anytime you park downtown. First-time users can enter promo code CITY for $10 off. Spot Hero. Park smarter.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of your #1 home mortgage lender, Townstone Financial. I continue to get calls and emails from homeowners whose interest rates are above 4%. Please do yourself a favor. Take 1 minute. Dial 312-896-2111 or go to townstone.com and let us give you some no closing cost refinance options today. No closing costs means no hidden costs. I guarantee it, and I own the company. Remember, you don't have to restart your mortgage at 30 years or 15. We can customize the payback period. Also, if your home is worth less than what you owe, we still have the Government HARP program, which will allow you to refinance and save money. And anyone who has an FHA mortgage or one with private mortgage insurance definitely needs to call me now so we can lower your monthly mortgage payments due to the recent increase in home values. The call is free and so is my time. So dial 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111 or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com. Townstone Financial is an Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 and MLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Fruits and vegetables in a capsule? Really? Let me get this straight. Over 10 servings of 31 different 100% pure fruits and veggies every day, no fillers, no additives, in vegetarian capsules at a cost of about 20 cents per serving. Want to know more? Tune in this Saturday at 6 p.m. for the Balance of Nature show here on AM 560. Everything you need to know in a capsule. Get your family and friends together. You don't want to miss this one. Listen this Saturday at 6 p.m. on AM 560.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone wants the original, the authentic. And with a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the iconic luxury, unparalleled safety, and performance of Mercedes-Benz at a price you can afford. But just remember, only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer has the skilled technicians to certify that your pre-owned vehicle is up to Mercedes-Benz standards. And only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer offers an unlimited mileage warranty, so you can drive with confidence as far as you'd like for up to 5 years. There are pre-owned vehicles, and then there are Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned vehicles. Visit the Certified Pre-Owned Sales event going on now through August 31st and receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
7:36. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Edens inbound, it's 21 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound now 36. Delays out to Glenview Road. Kennedy, 34 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 38. The Eisenhower, 41 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 48. Stevenson from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, it's 50 minutes, outbound 44. Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State. Stop and go from the 83rd Street toll to the Hinsdale Oasis. From the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and from the Bensonville Bridge to Balmoral. Veterans Memorial heavy. Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Findlay to Roosevelt. The Army Trail toll to 290. Reagan Tollway now heavy, 83 to the Tri-State. Traffic is a service of LL Bean. And LL Bean every school year is a new adventure. And now you can get 20% off book packs, kids' clothing, and more of the stuff every student needs. Visit LL Bean in Chicago today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Partly sunny and 83 today. We'll have passing shower overnight, low 66. Currently 66 at O'Hare, 68 along the lake, 58 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. The obsessing over Trump's response this weekend to the domestic terrorist attack by white supremacists on a crowd of counter-protesters in Charlottesville. The neo-Nazis and white supremacists protesting the planned removal of the Robert E. Lee statue in Charlottesville, and then the fascist Antifa protesting the neo-Nazis, even though they're basically coming from the same place. They just disagree who should be in charge. And President Trump responded thusly. Let's give kind of a full complement of what he said, the many sides context that some outlets provided and others didn't over the weekend.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. This has been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives. No citizen should ever fear for their safety and security in our society.
And the Charlottesville mayor, Michael Signer, who is, by the way, a Democrat and was a Podesta flack on Clinton transition team, he was on Meet the Press, and he essentially argued in part that Trump courted the attack that occurred, the act of domestic terrorism that occurred in Charlottesville.
You added this. You said, I do hope he looks in the mirror, himself in the mirror, and thinks very deeply about who he consorted with during the campaign. What are you referring to there?
It's an old saying, when you dance with the devil doesn't change, the devil changes you. And I think they made a choice in that campaign, a very regrettable one, to really go to people's prejudices, to go to the gutter. I mean, these influences around the country, these anti-Semites, racists, Aryans, Nazis, KKK, they were always in the shadows, but they've been given a key and a reason to come into the light. That's exactly what happened last week. If you looked at the chatter online, they said this will be a shot heard around the world. This will be alt-right 2.0 in Charlottesville. The time has come for this to stop. This should be a turning point. This movement jumped the shark, and it happened yesterday. People are dying, and I do think that it's now on the president and on all of us to say enough is enough. This movement has run its course.
This is the first time they've come out into the light. I mean, in 1978 in Chicago, they came out into the light. They wanted to march through Skokie. They get together with the Nazis. National Socialists, remember, National Socialists, haters of the left, actually, not the right. They were defended by the ACLU, their right to protest, their right to free expression, and ultimately didn't march through Skokie, but had a rally in Federal Plaza. That was nearly 40 years ago. So
I still remember it well.
Just now they've come into the light? No, well, they come into the light intermittently.
But the real issue is Trump, he had an opportunity to call out the white nationalists who organized the event. He had an opportunity to call the incident what it was, domestic terrorism, and he didn't denounce them, and many feel that way because he didn't want to upset his base. 312-642-5600. I know personally I was offended even when the reporter asked him on the way out, wait, where are you going? What's happening?
Mr. President, do you want the support of these white nationalist groups?
Yeah, screaming a question at the president as he's walking out of the room.
Yeah, but he
It's
could
not
have stopped
particularly
and
compelling.
turned around and done the right thing.
The issue is what his speech, not reporters shouting to him as he's going behind a curtain.
The issue is he didn't denounce the
Yes.
white nationalist groups.
Yes, that's the issue, not that reporters screaming a question at him. I agree. Here's what David French wrote in National Review. America's at a dangerous crossroads. I know full well that I could have supplemented my list of violent white supremacist acts with a list of vicious killings and riots from left-wing extremists, including the recent act of the lone wolf progressive terror directed at GOP members of the House and Senate. There is a bloodlust at the political extremes. Now is the time for moral clarity, specific condemnations of vile American movements, and for actions that break up those apparently strong those apparently strong words. He points out, as many who've criticized Trump point out, that Trump has no problem making specific criticisms of people with whom he disagrees or people with whom he believes deserve criticism, like the Khan family and Judge Curiel and James Comey and any other person he considers a personal enemy. So why not these hate mongers that were in Charlottesville? That's the question that's being put to the Trump administration, or Trump and his administration, or were his words sufficient? Verlin on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What's up, Dan? Amy? Dan, you knew you would reel me back in sooner or later.
I know it.
But look, this is a serious note. Now, Amy, I'm going to break it down to you because I keep hearing you talking about denouncement. Listen to me. Donald Trump said everything that was needed to be said. You know, he denounced violence. He denounced the racism. And I'm going to break it down to you, Amy. Those counter-protesters, don't make them out to be followers of Martin Luther King. They showed up in riot gear. I saw this one guy with black gloves on with rods in them. They showed up for violence. So Donald Trump covered all the bases. That's what he did. He tried to bring everybody together by saying all the right things. And Dan, I know you're a numbers guy. So we're going to do the numbers right now. The Southern Poverty Center said that it was 6,000 of these races supposed to show up, right? Only 1,000 showed up. You named about 5 different groups. So that's what, 250 apiece? 1,000 people? That is no reflection of America. 320 million people. They want to shine a light on this just to play up division in this country, and we not need to listen to this media with all their falsehoods and everything they're trying to make America out to be. That's not America. That's not the America that I know. I'm sick of CNN. And Navarro, you're not a Republican, so shut your fat mouth, you idiot. I'm sick of them.
Well,
all right, thanks for the call, Verlin.
But the fact is, the person who used his vehicle to kill people, I don't even want to say his name, but James Fields of Ohio.
Just did. You don't
All right,
even
fine.
have to.
Well, he drove 8 hours. He knew what he was doing. He bought a car in Detroit, a Dodge Charger, drove down there. His mom thought he was going to a Trump event. Here she is when she learned that her son had just killed people.
I didn't know it was white supremacists. I thought it had something to do with Trump. Trump's not a supremacist.
She said Trump's not a supremacist. But his history teachers, high school history teachers, come forward saying when he was in class, he had this obsession with Nazis that was not normal compared to other students. So now the Department of Justice has opened up a federal investigation, which is great, good for Jeff Sessions, to see what motivated him, what groups he belonged to, and all of that.
Okay, first of all, Verlin, to your point about the numbers game, good piece in Pajamas Media by Roger Simon. I encourage you and others to check out, to your point. Secondly, the history teacher at Randall Cooper High School in Cincinnati said, I feel like that I failed and we all failed. He was a very bright kid, but very misguided and disillusioned, talking about his views being very much along the party lines of the neo-Nazi movement, the neo-national socialist movement. So that's another piece of it.
And he was, registered Republican. That's just a fact. He was.
And?
Well, don't you think that doesn't bode well for the party? He was a registered Republican and a neo-Nazi.
So let me try and explain something to you. If I commit an act of violence wearing an American flag T-shirt, does that delegitimize the American flag as a symbol of freedom the world over? No, it doesn't. So illegitimate acts with appropriated affiliations or symbols don't impugn the appropriated affiliation or the symbol. They don't delegitimize it. So that's cheap politics that you're playing. And we don't play it on the left.
Well, if he was a flaming
I'm not
liberal,
done
we'd
yet.
be all over.
No, actually, we wouldn't, because we've played that game before in instances like this, and I'm not doing that. I'm not doing because somebody voted in a Democrat primary and then went on a shooting spree that impugns the entire Democrat Party. That's absurd.
But we didn't do that with a Bernie Sanders follower who
That's
then went on a shooting
absurd.
spree in the Republican softball team.
No, we didn't.
I think that we did.
Well, you must have a mouse in your pocket because I didn't.
A mouse.
Because somebody who was a Bernie Sanders volunteer does not make every Bernie Sanders supporter a violent criminal. That's juvenile. It's sophomoric. Don in Lake Villa, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, my question is, and this goes to the mayor, who's over there running his mouth about, what causes all this. I seem to recall that what caused all this was somebody decided that Confederate statues offend them. And the funny thing about being offended is nothing happens to you. You don't get hurt. You don't lose your job. Nothing. So the catalyst of this whole mess that started everything was because somebody had an ISIS mentality and decided to get rid of statues, which aggravated another group. When another group got involved, and then it just escalated from there. But the bottom line, what started this was the liberal mentality, which is the same as ISIS. And let's just forget about certain things and aggravate a bunch of people because 2 or 3 people were offended by something stupid.
Thanks for the call, Don. Well, that's still a symptom. That's still a symptom of a problem. And the real problem is if I disagree with something, it must be expunged. If I disagree, it cannot be correct. It must be eradicated.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not into knocking down statues. Confederate General Robert E. Lee, that's important to people in the South. And for us, it reminds them that we won. But taking down racing history, I think, is wrong.
Well, think about Don's point. If I disagree with something and it must be eradicated, if people won't eradicate it voluntarily, what happens? Force.
Violence. Yeah.
So that's where this goes, and that's sort of what David French is talking about, even as he's critical of President Trump. I just think it's really simple. Whether it's the Bernie Sanders supporter, the congressional assassin, if you will. I'll just strip Bernie Sanders out of it. Congressional assassin, Fort Hood major, Charlottesville driver, Charleston church shooter, Dallas cop killer, Oklahoma City bombers. It's the same standard. People with a belief that some people should be subjugated to other people by group, then they commit an evil in furtherance of that view. It's real simple. So apply the same standard across the ideological spectrum. The real problem is people who make politics their religion. Politics their religion. And that's at the basis of a lot of these hate groups of both the left National Socialists and the left fascist Antifas. Ian in Glenview, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. You don't have to go back to 1978, 1999. Benjamin Smith murdered Ricky Birdsong.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He murdered an Asian Indiana college student. He shot a black pastor. He shot up West Rogers Park. And these protests, and they marched in Skokie, I believe it was in 2000. They marched in East Peoria. They've been marching and doing these protests, or doing these. The KKK has done marches.
And you had that connected to that the Birdsong. You had that hate preacher of sorts. What was his name? Hale.
Oh yeah,
Matthew
Hale.
Yeah.
He's doing 40 years in the Colorado Supermax. I'm proud to say I was part of getting him over there. This is something I used to do. So this is nothing new, and it's not isolated. It's not anecdotal, and they don't represent anybody but their own selves, period.
Thanks for the call, Ian. Thanks, Ian. Annie on the Northwest Side.
I think the hypocrisy is enraging. I mean, it's just Trump came out, and he is against all hate. No one ever put Obama under these standards, and he's the one who kicked all this racial stuff off. No one got mad at Obama when he wouldn't, come out against Black Lives Matter when they were saying kill police, kill white people. No one cared. Trump didn't do anything wrong. He's not racist. He's not for this. He came out and said, I'm against all hate. And Amy, you're crazy. I mean, you're just
really? I'm crazy? Well, no, then explain. No, listen, last night.
It's crazy.
Hey.
You're blaming Trump. He came out and he was against all hate. What else does the man need to do? Everything he does, no matter what he does, the left disagrees with it, and he'll never be right. That's it. It's insane.
All right, well,
the left is crazy. They're starting all of this. They're creating all this, and the media is playing up, and they're trying to create all this racial divide. And I agree with Vernon on the South Side. This doesn't represent America, and Trump doesn't represent racists or anything. It's insanity.
Thanks for the call, Annie.
If there wasn't a problem, then why last night did the White House come out with a new statement saying the president said very strongly in a statement yesterday that he condemns all forms of violence, bigotry, and hatred. And of course, that includes white supremacists, KKK, and neo-Nazis, and all extremist groups. That's what he just should have said the first time.
And to Annie's point, I mean, again, in my view, specific evil should be condemned specifically. But, I mean, you go back to President Obama's address at the Dallas Police Memorial for those 5 officers that were gunned down. Mm-hmm. And he talked about, he basically did Black Lives Matter propaganda. We can't simply dismiss it, the protests, Black Lives Matter, as a symptom of political correctness or reverse racism. We also know that centuries of racial discrimination, slavery, subjugation, Jim Crow, they didn't simply vanish with the end of lawful segregation. It's true. I don't know what that has to do with those police officers.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that.
Right.
He played his.
So, well, but that's why
he was so off the mark on that. Ooh.
Well, that's why I don't want to play the hypocrisy game, because it's too easy. Because politicians use hatred to manipulate people for their political interests. It happens to some extent on both sides. It certainly happened under President Obama, who is an incredibly divisive president. There's no question about that. And we could go chapter and verse in terms of his remarks and the cover stories that were provided for his remarks by the D.C. press corps, which, of course, are not going to be attended to Trump. But that goes back to saying you should hold yourself to a standard. Whether or not Obama got away with something that you're not getting away with, it doesn't really rationalize not applying a standard where you denounce evil, specific evils, specifically, and you hold those who commit violence in advance of trying to subjugate one group to the other accountable. It's so simple, really. And that's why I think once you get this out of the political arena and you have conversations interpersonally with just ordinary people, I think these things are resolved very quickly. They're not resolved by Antifa and white supremacists, obviously.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SE was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone wants the original, the authentic. And with a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the iconic luxury, unparalleled safety, and performance of Mercedes-Benz at a price you can afford. But just remember, only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer has the skilled technicians to certify that your pre-owned vehicle is up to Mercedes-Benz standards. And only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer offers an unlimited mileage warranty, so you can drive with confidence as far as you'd like for up to 5 years. There are pre-owned vehicles, and then there are Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned vehicles. Visit the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through August 31st and receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
Hey, one addition, too, you mentioned that he bought this car in Detroit, did that murderer in Charlottesville.
Mm-hmm.
Now the family who sold him that car, they're under death threats, and police are suggesting they should leave their home and so forth. There's no evidence they did anything wrong. They had any idea what he was going to do. They sold him a car, and this is how these things spiral out of control. Now they're being targeted.
Crazy. All right, birthdays, weddings, graduations, it never ends. So don't stress about giving the perfect gift and never go to a party empty-handed when ChicagoRadioDeals.com is just a click away. You can purchase and print a gift certificate the same day. Give you a $100 gift certificate to Zembar Jewelers in New Lenox. Here's the deal. You pay only $50 to buy that $100 gift certificate. Most deals on ChicagoRadioDeals.com are half the retail price. So give the gift of dance as well with private and group lessons from Fred Astaire Dance Studio in Burr Ridge. or the gift of music in the form of a drum kit, guitar, or digital piano from Midlothian Music. So visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com for instant gifts you need to give anytime. Dinner, tickets to live music and comedy, Lake Michigan cruises, bed and breakfast overnight stays in Milwaukee and Door County, spa treatments, and more. Find them all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone wants the original, the authentic. And with a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the iconic luxury, unparalleled safety, and performance of Mercedes-Benz at a price you can afford. But just remember, only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer has the skilled technicians to certify that your pre-owned vehicle is up to Mercedes-Benz standards. And only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer offers an unlimited mileage warranty, so you can drive with confidence as far as you'd like for up to 5 years. There are pre-owned vehicles, and then there are Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned vehicles. Visit the Certified Pre-Owned Sales event going on now through August 31st and receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
A veritable rarity. David Brooks gets it right, calling for the Google CEO to resign.
And later, ABC News got the exclusive with the Mooch. Scaramucci's back and what his future plans are. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Sunshine in our forecast for this day and more humid conditions in your forecast. Kevin Snyder is along with that in just a moment. Sheriff in Wisconsin says 3 were shot dead at an auto racing event. 3 suspected burglars were shot and killed in the city of Chicago. School funding sponsor is calling for a House override in Springfield. Some suburban waterways are being troubled now by breakaway bogs after last month's flooding. Cubs take the rubber match from the D-backs while the Royals clobber the White Sox. Partly sunny today. Complete look at weather after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
He'll soon appear in court. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The man said to be a Nazi sympathizer, James Fields Jr., charged with second-degree murder, accused of driving into counter-protesters Saturday in Charlottesville, Virginia.
I see bodies flying, and your first reaction is to move, but it happened so fast.
She was at a vigil last night for the woman killed and others injured at a white nationalist rally turned violent.
The focus now is on what to do next, and quite honestly, people are confused right now as to where to go next. There's still the issue with the Confederate statue that was basically behind the impetus behind this entire rally on Saturday. People now curious what will happen with that. That's still tied up in the court system.
Steve Chenevey with Fox 5 TV in Charlottesville. President Trump's returning to Washington for a little while today after tweeting much work to do. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in D.C.
Dave, the president is expected to sign an executive order today asking the Trade Office to investigate China's alleged theft of American technology and intellectual property. The move comes as the White House leans on Beijing to help rein in North Korea's nuclear threats. President Trump will also meet with the National Economic Council. Tonight, he'll travel to Trump Tower in New York, where he has a phone call planned with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Dave.
Now, Rachel, China's warning this president's actions could lead to a trade war. As it readies a ban starting tomorrow on some imports from North Korea, abiding by new UN sanctions over North Korean missile tests and threats. America's top generals in South Korea saying the U.S. wants to peacefully resolve the North Korean standoff, but would consider military options if sanctions fail. There's a manhunt for a gunman who killed 3 people at a racetrack last night in Wisconsin, prompting thousands to be evacuated.
This event, called Larry's Fun Fest, was billed as tailgating, drag racing, and a car show. Sheriff Beth says the 3 victims were at a food vendor stand when the gunman walked up and shot all 3 from close range.
AJ Bayatpour with Fox 6 TV in Kenosha County. Fox News, fair and balanced.
67 degrees, partly sunny skies, winds from the east at 4 miles an hour. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott at 8:02 in the AM 560 newsroom. Here are the stories we're following at this hour. Authorities are searching for the gunman who shot and killed 3 suburban men at the Great Lakes Dragway in southeast Wisconsin. At least 2 of the victims have been confirmed to be from Aurora. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side. Police say 2 men and a woman broke into a home yesterday near 102nd and Ewing. The homeowner then shot the intruders before calling 911. Authorities do believe the shooting was in self-defense. The lawmaker responsible for the school funding plan endorsed by the Senate over Governor Bruce Rauner's veto is demanding the House should override 2. Senator Andy Maynard from Bunker Hill told reporters on Sunday that a negotiated compromise on the what he called evidence-based funding model is still possible with the governor. Autopsies are planned for 2 women who died in a multi-vehicle crash in Algonquin. The 2 cars collided yesterday in the 900 block of East Algonquin Road. Crews are wrestling with large floating bog islands on many northern Illinois waterways, creating major hazards for boaters and threatening to damage piers. Fox Waterway Agency's director says recent flooding on the Channel Lakes and Fox River caused those bogs, made up of muck, cattails, tall grass, and other vegetation, to break free from the banks. They're being pushed around by currents and winds. 1 bog was removed from Lake Catherine last Friday. Cubs dropped the Diamondbacks 7-2, while the Royals beat the White Sox 14-6. The news, a service of Accountemps. In today's highly skilled accounting and finance world, professionals can be hard to find. As the leader in specialized temporary staffing, Accountemps provides top accounting and finance talent where and when you need it most. Visit Accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, VF, the parent company of Wrangler, JanSport, Kipling, and Nautica, is buying Williamson-Dickie, the uniform company. MarketWatch says VF will pay $820 million in cash. Aldi is about to start delivering groceries in some cities. Aldi's pilot program starts the end of this month in Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Dallas. It's a partnership with Instacart. Shoppers will select items online and arrange a delivery time. Target, Whole Foods, and Costco already offer delivery from Instacart. Dick's Sporting Goods is a stock to follow today. Barron's Magazine says Dick's is a bargain in retail's wreckage because Dick's has an opportunity to grow as its competitors falter. The Dow was up 14 on Friday, the Nasdaq up 39, S&P gained 3. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
All right, I have to admit it was an eyesore. The chipping and paint peeling on our front and back porch, it looked awful. But thanks to CertaPro painters, the porch looks brand new. The painters who showed up were professional, respectful. They were done in just a few hours. And when they left, the house looked brand new. They really are the best in the business. And it's not too late to book your exterior painting project. There are several spots open on CertaPro's summer schedule. Here's an idea. Let CertaPro painters transform your home while you're on vacation and return to a freshly painted house. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and so we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. For a free estimate, call 1-800-GO-CERTA, C-E-R-T-A, or visit CertaPro.com, that's Certa with the C. Get that painting project off your to-do list. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%, APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 4th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
8:07. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's north side, Howard is still blocked off between Clark and Wolcott after an early morning shooting. Eden's 20 minutes Lake Hook to the junction, but outbound 37. Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, 34 minutes, 22 from Montrose, 18 in the Express. Outbound 39 to the airport. About Eisenhower, delays start at North Avenue. 51 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 46. Inbound Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 46. Ryan is 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, stop and go 132 to 137. Northbound from the 83rd Street toll to the Hinsdale Oasis. Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, from the Bensonville Bridge to Balmoral. Adams and Reagan Tollways are good. Veterans Memorial heavy. Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail toll to 290. Southbound 53, stop and go Rand to Kirchhoff. Northwest Indiana's fine. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny, high 83. Tonight, partly cloudy with a passing late-night shower, low 66. Tomorrow, humid with partial sunshine, high 82. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
67 degrees at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Let's try and take this from a different angle here in terms of maybe trying to get some bases, this racially charged discussion, charged mainly at the hands of an overheated D.C. press corps, but nonetheless. Interesting piece in New York Times over the weekend from liberal Frank Bruni. I'm a white man, hear me out. Frank Bruni is white and male, but you should hear him out because he's gay. That's him, not me saying it, him. He writes from the 10th grade through, I grew up in the suburbs. Dad made six figures. We had a backyard pool. From the 10th through the 12th grades, I attended private school. The only proper way for me to check my privilege is to realize that it blinds me to others' struggles and should gag me during discussions about right responses to them. But wait, I'm gay. And I mean gay from a different, darker day when he, was not so well received for being gay as he is today, essentially. He writes, though, in reference to a book that comes out this week from a Columbia University professor, Mark Lilla, the once and future liberal. Lilla, in his book, asserts the following, that what we have now on college campuses in our politics it has gone from I think gay, and here's my argument, to now, speaking as an X, I'm offended that you claim B. In other words, it's all identity. Identity is my moral standing to weigh in, and if you don't have the same identity, you cannot weigh in. And Bruni, to his credit, rejects that. He goes on to say, race, gender, sexual orientation, class, all this informs and very often warps how we see the world. And for much too long, this country's narrative has been scripted by white men who've also dominated stage and made its rules. Our advantage as a class is real and unearned. Okay, he's a liberal, so you're going to get that. But then he goes on to say, should we really have say and sway only over matters that neatly dovetail with the category that we've been assigned or assigned ourselves? Is that the limit of our insights and empathies? That kind of thinking fosters estrangement instead of connection. Across a range of institutions, we need more diversity, but I question the wisdom of turning categories into credentials when it comes to politics and public debate. He goes on to say, I shared some personal details of myself, the fact that he's gay, at the opening of the column, but not the important ones. How I responded to the random challenges on my path, who I met along the way, what I learned from them, the degree of curiosity I mustered, and the values that I honed as a result. Those are the important definitions of my character, or component parts of my character. So what about that? I mean, what we're seeing play out in Charlottesville, what we saw play out in Charlottesville on Saturday, isn't that, and the reaction to it in particular, where everybody runs, not everybody, but a lot of people that are identity politics obsessed run to their identity camps and lob Jeremiads from those camps, competing to condemn or defend based on identity. That's where you get balkanization. That's, as Frank Bruni writes, what fosters estrangement instead of connection, isn't it? So at the base of the hate that you see, is it identity politics that you see on college campuses that are inculcated into young people who form a lot of the white supremacists and a lot of the fascist antifas? A feminist professor at Grinnell College offering a course this fall on American whiteness that will focus on attacking racism by making whiteness visible. Whiteness is, among much else, a very bad idea, the syllabus states. It's quite possible to avoid hating white people as individuals, but to criticize the idea of white people in general. That kind of group criticism, is that productive? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. We saw this play out with Google and David Brooks. I mean, the New York Times getting, two things right in the same weekend edition is stunning. It's worth noting. He calls on Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, to resign for how he handled the James Damore, the Google software engineer memo controversy. Calls on him to resign because he's a simplistic PC-addled thinker playing group politics.
Yeah, he should resign.
He also mentioned Google's diversity officer, Danielle Brown. David Brooks writing, she didn't wrestle with any of the evidence behind Damore's memo. She just wrote his views, quote, advanced incorrect assumptions about gender, unquote. This is ideology obliterating reason, Brooks writes. So isn't that what we have here when you make politics religion? Ideology obliterating reason. That's Antifa. That is obviously the white supremacists, the National Socialists. That is so much of Black Lives Matter. That is so much of these professional agitators across the ideological spectrum. That is so much of what drove the assassin, tried to kill Scalise and other members of Congress, as well as Major Hassan, as well as the Oklahoma City bombers, as well as the Dallas cop killers, as well as the Charleston church murderer. So why don't we get to the base of this rather than obsessing about whose comment was condemnation appropriate and whose was not? David and Skokie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Amy.
Morning.
I just one thing, this whole story has been bothering me a lot, but one thing I always wanted to know is, for the past 8 years we sat there and condemned, and yelled about Obama not saying, not calling radical Islam radicalism that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Why today are we not yelling at Trump for not saying white supremacist the way white supremacist is? I mean, it doesn't mean every white person is bad, but the same way radicalism doesn't mean every Islam is bad. Islamist is bad, it shouldn't mean the same thing with white supremacists.
Yeah, I think we are in vociferous agreement. Specific evil should be condemned specifically. That's what we've said all morning.
He should have said it. Do you not agree that Trump should have said white supremacist?
Yes, that's
I think he should have, and so do other Republican senators.
Saying he shouldn't have.
No, I didn't say he shouldn't have. I've said from the beginning, from the 6 o'clock hour forward, specific condemnation or specific evil should be condemned specifically. And violence and furtherance of a belief that one group of people should be subjected to another is specific evil that should be condemned specifically. Yes.
And I think,
well, they're in agreement.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks for the call,
and I
David.
think, in time of crisis, the president needs to speak for the nation and give voice to American values and project moral authority. And he missed the mark. And instead, of coming back and, today he's going to be meeting with Jeff Sessions to talk about the investigation, but also he's going to have a press conference and maybe he will bring it up. Or is it a little too late? Do you think we should just move on? 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
So, what the effort that I try to make is to establish a standard by which everybody is held and holds themselves. And then, get to roots of these problematic behaviors, pernicious ideologies, and so forth. What you hear most everybody else do, with maybe the exception of Dennis Prager, is do the obsessing about what one politician said versus another, the hypocrisy game, which is so easy. And we can do it in both directions. We can go through New York Congresswoman Kathleen Rice saying 5 million NRA members are domestic security threats. We can go through the jobs for terrorists Obama solution. We can go through the Hug a Jihadi program in Europe, places like Denmark.
It's worked out wonderfully.
We can go through it all if you want to do that. Or if you want to have a deeper, more reflective conversation about cause and effect, about the premise from which this people start rather than just the manifestation of that premise, well, then you can listen to the show. So we can do 4 hours of Trump should have said it. No, he shouldn't have. Yes, he should have. No, he shouldn't have. Where does that get you? Try to think about a standard that you apply across the board. See if you can come up with one. I offered mine. I posted on Facebook last night. I've repeated it on the show incessantly. I'm even bored with it. So, but I would admonish people, standards, and eliminate the R and the D. That's the easiest way to not trip yourself up and to kind of get to the root of some of these matters. Chris in Northbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, the idiot in the car, did that happen before or after Trump made his statement?
It happened. So I heard the accident happened around 2, but he made his statement at 3. I think it was all on Eastern time.
I think it was after.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm driving through Wisconsin, switching between the answer and a pundit in Wisconsin, which I know is against the rules. But his point was,
come on, Chris,
that Trump didn't know the So in regards to Trump not making a stronger comment against the quote-unquote alt-right, if he didn't know the motivation of the idiot in the car at that time.
He might.
I don't. That's not my understanding. I'm, open to being corrected on it. But I thought they knew that, that they had this guy and kind of what happened, and that he, rammed into a crowd of Antifa protesters and
he made some statement to police. I know that. So
thanks for the call, Chris. But when was he apprehended?
Oh, right away. I mean, so he plowed his car in,
and then he full reversed.
Then he full reversed all the way back, and then they got him out of the car. He was conscious. He was talking. He was on the ground. Handcuffs behind him, sitting upright.
Well, the other thing, I mean, just in terms of condemning specifically, even without that murderous rampage of that neo-Nazi scum, you still had neo-Nazi scum, National Socialists, in Charlottesville. So
get the KKK with their new colored robes.
Specific reference would have been appropriate because they are specifically evil. The history of these people is violence to advance their ideology of subjugating one group of people to another group of people. So it's appropriate to condemn that vile ideology as a matter of course. Chuck,
I mean, it was just an ugly part of America to watch this. I mean, they're spraying pepper spray in each other's faces, beating each other's with sticks. It was ugly.
Yes.
It was awful.
In both directions.
To watch.
As Rich Lowry documented over at National Review.
It was
New York Times reporters on site. New York Times reporters on site pointing out Antifa fascists engaged in violence with, the white supremacists. So it was both directions. That is a fact from reporters on the ground from the New York Times. So just point of order on that. Chuck in Delavan, Wisconsin.
The KKK, brought to you by the Democratic Party back when they formed it, but that's not what I called for. I'm the guy that goes up and down the side of the road picking up aluminum cans. If you have a shipwreck and the first thing they go after is the propeller because it's bronze, they blow it off of the ship. That pays for everything. That bronze statue in melted form is probably worth millions. Who gets that money? That's what I want to know.
Well,
okay, Chuck.
On an ancillary issue,
follow the money, Chuck of Delavan.
Well, the statue is still up.
Not if Chuck from Delavan has his way.
He wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah, if you find that statue melted down tomorrow night, I hope Chuck from Delavan has an alibi. Sean from Elmwood Park.
Prof, maybe you could help me with this. I don't even want to mention that the Black Panthers pretty much acted as a super PAC for Obama. But more importantly, national populists, right, and the nationalists that you hear, and the neo-Nazis, these are Union Democrats. The actual people. Not only are they welfare recipients, they're Union Democrats. How did they become the alt-right? When did that happen? See, to me, I thought I was going to be called the alt-right because I was a libertarian. I wanted capitalism. I wanted small government. I wanted freedom. I didn't want any bureaucracies. I used to be the alt-right. Now you're gonna give me these card dealing, protesting mechanics. Now they're with me. These chubby bums with their shirts that don't go down to the top of their pants. These guys are with me.
Mechanics are part of the alt-right now as a group. What? You've lost me.
No, but they're nationalists. They're populists.
Mechanics?
They're Union Democrats. So I'm
all mechanics. Do we have a problem with mechanics in this country? What?
I have a problem with protesting unions. Yes, I absolutely do. You're socialists. You're demanding mediocrity at high pay, and that's what nationalists, that's what populists are. That's Trump's real base. Are Union Democrats, not people asking for freedom, not people asking for liberty. They're not. They want a managed economy. They want more engineering. So let's call them all Democrats. This is a win-win for me. Everybody beat the hell out of everybody, and I'll sit back with popcorn. Go ahead.
There's the voice of reason, Sean.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Let's remind Sean that 3 people are dead. Today, sunshine, as you can see, a high of 83 degrees. Tonight, a passing shower mostly to the south and east of the city. And then tomorrow, it's going to be humid with partial sunshine, a high in the low to mid 80s. Let's get into our alarm detection systems. Traffic Center, here's Jim Telemonte.
And Amy, in Chicago, there's a closure of Howard Street. It's been closed all morning for Clark and Wolcott after an early morning shooting in that area. The CTA Yellow Line trains headed toward Howard are stopped right now at Dempster and Skokie due to signal issues. The Edens is light inbound, 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound 37. Inbound Kennedy delays start at Irving Park, 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker than the Express, outbound 39. Inbound Eisenhower, 51 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, and 32 from Manheim, outbound 46 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 54 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, outbound 46. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound stop and go, 132 to 137. Northbound from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan to Wayne Lawrence. Jim Talamonte and the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, how would you like to have insurance for your computer network? Something to protect your hardware, software, and more importantly, give you peace of mind. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a team of certified technicians who are there for you. They work in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone. They'll make house calls to your workplace. And Turnkey IT doesn't wait until there's an emergency call because they work hard to take preventative measures to monitor situations to keep your network secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with what they call the Turnkey Experience. What's that? Well, everything included. Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support 365 days a year, yes, even on the weekends. So find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company today. It's easy. Just visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Does how you feel interfere with your lifestyle? Take control before it does. Harvard Medical recently published a paper on how to decrease your risk of cancer, heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, bowel and vision problems. The answer, backed by dozens of studies, is not vitamins. It's eating more fruits and vegetables in their whole, complete form. 4 simple tips that I've used with my patients over the years are: 1. Keep fruits and vegetables where you can see them readily. 2. Get crazy. Explore the produce aisle and choose something new. 3. Make it a meal. Try new recipes that include more vegetables and fruits. And the easiest of all, to get the complete nutrition of 31 different fruits and vegetables every day, take Balance of Nature.
What are you waiting for? Don't miss your opportunity to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You've heard me talk about my friends at Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville. They're well known for excellent customer service, including custom designs, jewelry repairs by their on-site expert craftsmen. Their knowledgeable and friendly staff always ensures that you feel like family. Right now, they're offering a special family incentive for everyone. 20% off jewelry repairs and custom designs. You mention my name, Mike Gallagher, and get this exclusive offer. Roland's Jewelers has a large selection of beautiful engagement rings, and they're a direct diamond importer. Take advantage of wholesale prices on quality loose diamonds, as well as fine jewelry from designers like Hearts on Fire, Simon G., John Hardy, and Roberto Coin. Don't forget to tell them Mike Gallagher sent you. You'll get 20% off jewelry repairs and custom designs. I want you to visit RolandsJewelers.com or call 847-918-7300. 847-918-7300. Roland's, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
AM 560, The Answer.
Scaramucci came out of hiding. He did what he said he was going to do, and he sat down with George Stephanopoulos on This Week and talked about, first and foremost, President's response to the Charlottesville death.
Well, I wouldn't have recommended that statement. I think he needed to be much harsher as it related to the white supremacists and the nature of that. I applaud General McMaster for calling it out for what it is. It's actually terrorism, and whether it's domestic or international terrorism, with the moral authority of the presidency, you have to call that stuff out.
But the question is, why didn't the president do that? You know him well.
Well, I think Alex mentioned one of the reasons why he doesn't like doing that. He likes doing the opposite of what the media thinks he's going to do. I think he's also of the impression that there is hatred on all sides, but I disagree with it.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions calling it an evil attack, quote unquote, saying it is an act of domestic terrorism this morning. I mean, you know, much like Trump, remember the Ariana Grande concert shooter? Evil loser. That's how Trump characterized him. Evil loser.
Right, didn't call him. Yeah, you're right. So Bannon came up, and what's his future?
You've been tough on Steve Bannon. Does he have to go?
Well, I think the president knows what he's going to do with Steve Bannon.
Which is what?
Well, let's leave it up to the president. It's his decision. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the president has a very good idea of who the leakers are inside the White House. The president has a very good idea of the people that are undermining his agenda that are serving their own interests.
And a very good idea of people who are sucking their own thumb.
Yes. Oh, yeah, exactly. So he said that there was mutual disappointment on both sides. Of course, he got fired because he was using foul language during the Ryan Lizza interview. But he said he told Ryan before the conversation began, "You're not recording this. This is not on the record."
This is the reason why the media gets a bad shake from the American people. That was a very deceitful thing that he did. He knows, based on my prior relationship with him.
Lots of reporters take phone calls.
George, I didn't say I didn't do the wrong thing. I want to be totally accountable for what I did. And obviously, I paid the consequences of having that sort of a conversation with him.
I thought he was professional. He was calm. No, but also he took responsibility for his action. You know what he said? He just wishes that President Trump would have given him a bar of soap so he can go rinse his mouth out with soap and not use potty language anymore.
Oh, good.
Because he believes that if he didn't swear during that interview and make the comments that he made, that he would still have his job.
Yeah, he's wrong, and now he needs to go away. And the question you didn't answer, the whole purpose of this segment, who's taller, him or Clinton Foundation donor zero?
You know what? They looked about the same height. Sorry, they did.
All right, coming up, your reviews on Governor Rauner's first national interview with Bret Baier on Friday. That's at 8:38.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Mostly sunny skies, 69 degrees. Just moments ago, the CEO of Merck, the drug company, resigned from President Trump's American Manufacturing Council. Kenneth Frazier announcing this morning he's decided to leave in order to take a stand against what he called intolerance and extremism. The 20-year-old Ohio man accused of murder by driving his car into a crowd of counter-protesters at a white nationalist rally in Virginia makes his first court appearance today. James Field faces charges including second-degree murder and the death of 32-year-old Heather Heyer. Attorney General Jeff Sessions continues to speak out against the violence sparked by the white nationalist rally in Charlottesville.
We will not allow these extremist groups to obtain credibility. Morally, legally, they're unjustified in their actions and approach to American democracy.
One person was killed over the weekend, 19 hurt. Baltimore City Councilman Brandon Scott expected to introduce legislation today calling for the destruction of all Confederate-era monuments in that city. A ruling expected later today on a widely watched decision by a New Jersey Catholic school to expel two sisters. You may recall Sydney and Caitlin Phillips were told they were not allowed to return to St. Teresa School in Kenilworth, New Jersey, this fall. Their expulsion was triggered by a family's legal battle to force the school to let 13-year-old Sydney play on the boys' basketball team after the girls' hoop season last year was canceled. Authorities are searching for a gunman who shot and killed 3 Illinois men at the Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin. 3 suspected burglars are dead following a shooting on Chicago's far south side. Police tell us it happened near 102nd and Ewing Avenue. The homeowner shooting the intruders before calling 911. Cubs dropped the Diamondbacks 7-2. Royals over the White Sox 14-6. The news is a service of Office Depot Office Max. Shop the Office Depot Office Max Back to School 1 cent event going on now. Select items 1 cent each, in-store only. Limit 3 each while supplies last. Offer with $5 minimum purchase before tax. Ends 8/26. 8:34 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone wants the original, the authentic. And with a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the iconic luxury, unparalleled safety, and performance of Mercedes-Benz at a price you can afford. But just remember, only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer has the skilled technicians to certify that your pre-owned vehicle is up to Mercedes-Benz standards. And only your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer offers an unlimited mileage warranty, so you can drive with confidence as far as you'd like for up to 5 years. There are pre-owned vehicles, and then there are Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned vehicles. Visit the Certified Pre-Owned Sales event going on now through August 31st and receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. Only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
Are you behind in your mortgage, facing foreclosure, being given the runaround on a loan modification application by some bank or servicer? Well, you're not alone, but I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've put together a team to help distressed homeowners like you. Give us a call. We give everyone who's eligible a free consultation. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process. Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
The number one fear amongst retirees today is running out of money in retirement. And that's with good reason, because the last thing you want to be is 75 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Hi, this is Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. here on AM 560. Today, we're living longer than ever before, so your retirement savings has to last 2, 3, even 4 decades. So how do you safely generate more income in retirement without risking everything you've worked for in the stock market? And what can you do to help ensure you never run out of money in retirement? The answer's in our free retirement income planning packet. It's packed full of little-known strategies on how to generate income in retirement, getting the most from Social Security, minimize taxes, and reduce the risk of outliving your income. You don't need to take unnecessary risks to generate income in retirement, and I'll prove it to you. You have a lot more options to generate income in retirement. You just didn't know they existed until now. Call the Alpha Wealth Group, 630-519-4742, right now to receive your free report. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
It is 8:38. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Mike, the Edens is heavy outbound with delays. Peterson to Lake Avenue, 37 minutes. Montrose to Lake Cook, inbound fine at 19. Kennedy, 44 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 38. Eisenhower's 52 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 30 from Manheim, outbound 43 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 54 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 48. Ryan is 26 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State delays are northbound from Plainfield Road to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to Lawrence. Reagan Tollway's fine, so is the Adams. Veterans Memorial, stop and go northbound, 63rd at the Reagan Tollway. The Army Trail toll to 290. Southbound 53 is heavy, ran to Kirchhoff. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business sense. 1935, partly sunny and 83 today. Currently 69. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy and Governor Rauner gave his first national interview on Friday with Bret Baier and Fox News. And I want to get to that, get your reviews just a second. But we have an Antifa fascist on the phone, so I want to have him chime in. John from Mundelein, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan.
Yeah, see you later. We don't give platforms to socialist scum like John from Mundelein on this show. So see you later, John. I just wanted to recognize you. So anyway, getting back to Governor Rauner on Bret Baier, he had a lot of topics that were thrown at him. The school funding piece, important because yesterday Senate Democrats voted to override his amendatory veto of the school funding bill that they passed after learning from the Illinois State Board of Education, their analysis of Governor Rauner's mandatory veto, 97% of school districts receive more money under Rauner's proposal than under Chicago Democrats' proposal. And those are who are the biggest winners? Waukegan, Rockford, Aurora, Cicero, East St. Louis, Danville, majority minority communities. Peoria, which claimed it would lose $1 million in state funding, actually will gain $4 million under the governor's mandatory veto.
Is that what the superintendent said, really?
Springfield, which claimed it could lose funding, will actually gain $1 million. No school district loses money.
Good.
97% see an increase, including Andy Minar, who is a downstate Senate Democrat, who was the chief sponsor of Senate Bill 1, the Chicago Democrats' proposal.
He's from Decatur, right?
Right. 97% of schools in the state do worse under Minar's proposal on behalf of Madigan and Cullerton than under Rauner's proposal. His school districts, Andy Minar, would receive an additional $8.7 million under Rauner's proposal. And yet yesterday he was one of all of the Senate Democrats who voted to override Governor Rauner's veto. That's what a partisan hack Andy Minar is, as well as his colleagues. They're voting against more money for their school districts because it's Rauner's proposal.
Yeah.
So who's the ideologue? Who's the partisan hack? who's the lobotomized roll call vote for the Chicago Democrats?
I hope people in his district know what he did.
Well, that's part of it is to get the word out, to get the information out so people can have their own conversations. And by the way, this is all because Rauner decided to distribute the money that Chicago wanted to bail out its pensions to all the schools in the state, as opposed to offering Chicago yet another bailout. So when you hear the moralizing from Chicago Democrats over the Rauner proposal, defending the override, just understand what they're doing is prioritizing Chicago above all other schools. And these are the people who start from the premise that more money equals better schools. More money spent equals better schools. I don't start from that premise. They do, and they're rejecting the conclusion that stems from the premises they have adopted. Just so you understand. That's how independent thinking your Democrat legislators are in suburban Cook and the Collar counties, and as well as areas of downstate like Metro East down around St. Louis. So I hope some Illinois families who've been buffaloed by these Chicago Democrat handmaidens are getting wise to the scam that they run and the demagoguery they advance. Here's Governor Rauner on Bret Baier talking about his school funding proposal versus what Chicago Democrats advanced to his desk.
Well, the Democrats, before I became governor, cut school funding for our state 4 times in the prior 10 years. We were the worst funded schools in America from a state government perspective as a percentage of overall spending. Terrible failure. And as a result, we had the biggest gap between what low-income schools got and high-income. I said, change it, make it more equitable. We passed a good school funding bill on a bipartisan basis that I championed, but the Democrats in the majority in the House inserted a poison pill, a pension bailout for the city of Chicago, hundreds of millions of dollars every year diverted away from classrooms in the suburbs and downstate. So I had to mandatory veto that bill, and we're going to get it fixed so it's fair and more equitable for everybody.
That sounds great. That sounds reasonable. I agree with him. That was a wonderful part of the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then things kind of took a turn.
Now, just a point of order for those that don't start from that premise, more money equals better schools. It turns out that you're right. Illinois, over the last 20 years, has increased school spending, K-12 spending, by 74% in real terms, while enrollment has creeped up only 6%. And where is student performance in the state over that 20-year period? Flat. So, but again, majority of families start from that premise. Start from the premise of the Democrats. More money thrown into the school system necessarily produces better results. So if you start from that premise, then you're inexorably led to support Rauner's proposal over the Chicago Democrats, aren't you? Aren't you? Now, in other matters, it was a little more dicey.
Yes.
Senate Bill 31, we've talked about it here on this show. It's on the governor's desk. It's kind of bubbled to the surface. There's a lot of discussion about it. This is the sanctuary state bill. And Governor Rauner was asked about it, sanctuary city litigation, Rahm versus Trump's Department of Justice, and then ultimately to the legislation pending on his desk. Here's Rauner on Trump versus Rahm.
Who are you with on this one, President Trump or Mayor Emanuel?
Well, I can tell you this. Illinois is a state built by immigrants. My grandparents were immigrants, and 1 in 7 people in Illinois are immigrants. So this is a very, very big issue. I personally feel like we've got to have a system of immigration that works. Our system is broken. We need fundamental, dramatic immigration reform. And rather than lawsuits and rather than name calling or fighting about which community is going to enforce our laws and which aren't, I think we should have a thoughtful, rational discussion about our immigration laws themselves. Which ones should we enforce and which ones should we change or repeal? That'd be far more productive.
I don't necessarily disagree that rethinking our immigration law at the federal level is what has to happen. But in the interim, you have to deal with sanctuary cities, those cities that think that they can flout federal law with impunity. And so Bret Baier tried to...
He didn't answer the question.
And so Bret Baier tried again.
Why shouldn't Chicago follow federal law?
Well, I tell you this, the system is broken. We need to keep our people safe. Here's the issue. We have to put priority on keeping the people of America safe and making sure that we have laws that we enforce and that the laws are rational and they're implemented everywhere.
Is that good enough for you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
Excuse me?
64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Can you please answer the question?
Well, Bret Baier tried a third time from a bit of a different angle, took it to the state level. Senate Bill 31, sanctuary state legislation on the governor's desk. What's he going to do about that?
So you have this bill, SB 31, on your desk. According to the Chicago Tribune, the bill would prohibit police from searching, arresting, or detaining a person because of their immigration status, absent a federal criminal warrant. It would also create so-called safe zones in state-funded schools, healthcare centers, Secretary of State facilities, and block state and local enforcement agencies from creating registries based on race, religion, and national origin. So are you going to sign that bill?
So our staff is evaluating that bill right now. In fact, we are meeting with law enforcement agencies and law enforcement leaders in the state to get their views on it. We're going to evaluate it, and then we'll make an announcement about how we're going to deal with that.
There's some families who say they've lost loved ones because of sanctuary status or policy, and they're trying to meet with you. Do you want to hear that point of view?
I want to hear everybody's point of view. You know, I work for everybody in the state of Illinois. Our immigration system is broken, and we need to have a system that keeps the people of Illinois safe, the people of America safe. We've got to put that as the first priority.
So I'm still trying to get, do you agree with the president or not, that sanctuary cities are a problem?
Well, I tell you this. What I say is immigration in America is broken. We make illegal immigration easy, and we make legal immigration almost impossible. We need dramatic immigration reform.
Okay, if I drank beer every time he said the word broken, I'd be drunk right now.
Mm-hmm.
But also, so basically we're going to become a sanctuary state.
Well, there's
That's what I'm hearing from him.
Well, there's two things. One, his last statement that we make illegal immigration easy and legal immigration difficult. I agree with that statement, and I think that's something to be addressed at the federal level. At the state level, it's a little bit different. You have to deal with the mess that the federal government has left you. What he could do is mandatorily veto the legislation to carve out the portion that law enforcement likes, letting them make judgment calls. So, because, for example, somebody who's here illegally, you want them to call 911 if they see a building on fire,
right,
if they see someone being assaulted, and you don't want them to fear, if they're here illegally, that they're going to be asked about their immigration status if they act as a good Samaritan, right? So there is potentially that, but the other safe zones and the other things that are in the bill that Bret Baier mentioned, those are terribly problematic and more consistent with the idea of sanctuary city as exemplified by the position that Tiny Dancer and the left has taken on these cities that eschew federal law. So that's a bit of a delicate dance that the governor's doing at this point. He also was asked, though, about running again. How do you do it with where the city, with where the state is at? And this was that exchange.
So how do you do it? I mean, you came to office as a plain-spoken businessman who said he was going to reform things and no tax increases without reform.
Yeah.
So now you have the tax increases, but where's the reform?
Exactly. That's why that budget was a disaster, terrible situation. Brett, here's the fact. We in Illinois have not been creating jobs for decades. I'm proud. Since I became governor, we've added 120,000 net new jobs, but for 17 years, we basically have the same number of jobs in Illinois that we had 17 years ago. And in the meantime, Brett, our government spending has gone up 66%. Completely broken, completely unaffordable, and a mindset of let's spend, borrow, and tax. Spend, borrow, and tax. We have got to break that cycle, and that's what we're standing to do every day.
And I think he did actually a fairly decent job of crystallizing the choice that Illinois voters have come 18. It's more than just the governor's race.
Oh, I can tell you a dramatic change. The people of Illinois are going to have an opportunity next November in 18 to decide whether they're going to keep supporting the folks in the General Assembly who support the Speaker and support the status quo. And this isn't about Democrats versus Republicans. This is about good government versus a corrupt machine with politicians who run government for themselves.
I think that's a fairly good description of the choice before those suburban voters and exurban voters and voters in certain pockets downstate that continue to vote for their local yokel, thinking that, my local yokel is
looking out for me.
Yeah, is a great, I know her from PTA. I know him from the Elks Club, and he's a good guy, and she's a great gal. And then they go to Springfield and do some not so great things, and people don't connect those dots. Well, now's the time to connect those dots if you want this state to be a going concern in some form or fashion. Pat in Lockport, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on a couple of items. Thank you for taking the call. Regarding the governor, I totally agree his idea with the budget being a mess and the reallocation of funds for all the schools is a good idea based on what he has said. But I find his inability to answer the question regarding immigration ludicrous. We do not get to pick the laws that we want to follow. Number one, the state is belly up financially. We know that. And if you are in this country illegally, you're an illegal immigrant. You're breaking the law. It's that simple. And there are consequences, and you have a personal responsibility for taking that risk. Every action has a reaction. Everything has a consequence. Yes, the laws are broken. Yes, they need to be fixed. But we cannot afford sanctuary cities in this state. Look at some of the footage across the country as to what happened to some of the sanctuary cities. It is absolutely appalling.
Thanks for the call, Pat.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
There's a place where you can get custom metal products. If you manage a commercial kitchen, hotel, condo building, or food-grade manufacturing plant, then no matter the type of metal or size of the project, the skillfully trained fabrication team at Vans Industrial has you covered.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Custom metal fabrication is the backbone of my company. We fabricate stainless steel countertops, wall coverings, hoods, landscape planter boxes, industrial fan housings, and more. Vans Industrial uses all types of alloys like carbon steel, aluminum, brass, and polished stainless steel. And we have a laser cutting machine. Our laser can customize almost any project. Our team can design, fabricate, and install your project today.
Call 219-931-4881 today for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS industrial.com. Vans Industrial, customizing for you, the customer.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning on this show. Original content on our digital platform, like our Against the Current series, long-form interviews with opinion leaders and policymakers. This week, Senator Ted Cruz, My 60 Seconds of Sanity, commentaries, 2-minute warnings from Pat Hughes, Illinois Opportunity Project, podcasts of our Illinois Rising program covering state policy and politics. This week focused on the school funding impasse, and our Heart of the Matter segment series that involves professional women speaking colleague to colleague about the salient issues of the day. You can get it all at upstream-ideas.com.
Yes, indeed, summertime. Another hot one. Wait, gonna be a little bit cooler today. Back to hot, gonna be windy. Maybe a thunderstorm mixed in for good measure. Up and down and up and down. The climate is always changing. Your company's heating and cooling system really gets a workout in Chicagoland. Be ready for anything this summer. Call Air Comfort and get your business's cooling system tuned up and running at peak performance. You see, the Air Comfort problem solvers can find small problems before they become big problems. Plus, proper maintenance will keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your chiller is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key to keep your climate from changing is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
You are about to hear from Dr. Douglas Howard.
After 20 years and tens of thousands of success stories, Balance of Nature is